14th. Okay, so this will be Daniel Green, Dr. Daniel Green,
Daniel
PhD.
Green.
Why does America lose irregular wars? The conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan are just the latest examples of how frequently irregular or small wars confound the United States despite its overwhelming military, diplomatic, and economic power. In his lecture, Daniel Green will speak about the invaluable lessons learned. Dr. Green has deployed 5 times to Iraq and Afghanistan as both a mobilized U.S. Navy reservist and with the U.S. Department of State. He received his PhD in political science in George Washington University. You know, these men of great, I love it when we have these men of great intellect that are coming in. There's only one thing here. I'm a little disappointed. Where is the woman? This is not politically correct.
We do try to look for diversity when we look for speakers.
Okay.
This season, it just shook out that we have 5 wonderful gentlemen. But last year, we had a woman who you may be familiar with, Molly Williamson.
Molly,
she's a well-known national speaker on all things Middle Eastern relations related, and
that would be fun.
She has been a speaker with us. I think that was her 3rd time, and she was phenomenal. So,
and don't forget, if you want me to help you sell tickets, get me in advance to have a small phone interview with some of these people coming in. Then it plants even early on. It could be months in advance. It sets the seed. They've heard of the individual because, you know, I wonder where most people keep up with all this. I mean, because they'll have speaker series like this, and it's like I'm going, okay, well, I've never heard this guy about irregular wars. And someone else, from Beachside will come and go, oh, yes, it's Daniel. Very good about this. Very small about this. Very in the New York Times.
That's how they talk on the beach?
Well, it's after you make $10 million, you kind of get it. Oh, and if you're a female, you get a British accent. Hi, darling, how are you?
Fabulous, Charlie. You know Sean Connery in there.
By the way, this is Melissa DePriest. And the priest just walked in.
And he got here a little late. Well, I'm sorry about that.
Well, we just want to know you're a regular sinner like the rest of us.
That's right.
That's right.
We all.
And introduce yourself. Who are you and where are you from?
Pastor Richard Demsick from Christ Church 923 Community at the church right by the bowling alley.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
I was there Saturday. They're doing this concert, singing. So I was singing.
Yeah. Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
It took me 20 minutes to find it because it's sort of next to the bowling alley and you can't see it.
Anywhere in the United States, we would go, yay, we got our wrist, we got our what do you call it, church? We got our church here next to the bowling alley. Come on out and have some beers with us on Saturday night or Sunday morning.
I love how it seems like in your mind, all poor people talk like that, and all rich people talk like the British person. It's like the poor people, and the British people.
The funny thing is, some of the people that attend this church have like 3 private jets, and
well,
stuff like that.
Yeah, mostly the 10 o'clock service.
Your choir director is fantastic.
Yeah, Brady Johnson. Yeah, him and I go
And
way
a nice
back.
human being.
He's a very good guy, very talented. He actually played at my parents' wedding.
Oh wow!
That's how long. Yeah, he
Do
was
they
a
have to wheel him
classmate.
in a wheelchair?
No, he's
No, young guy.
he's a young
I know.
guy. He's only 40s.
Yeah, late 40s.
Late 40s.
Really?
Maybe early 50s.
So how old was when he played for your parents' wedding? Was he 10 or something? Because your parents have been married, what, 30
Well, actually,
years?
so he must be 60.
He sure looks younger.
He
Well,
looks young.
How old are your parents, if you don't mind?
They're early 60s.
And how long have they been married? 40 years?
40 years, actually, exactly 40 years. Yeah.
40 years?
Yeah,
That's the
40
number
years
of
ago.
testing? Moses was out in the wilderness
That's right.
for 40 years.
Jesus, 40 days.
40 days, 40 nights. Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the boat.
So there you go.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And I bet you haven't even reached 40 yet, or not even near it.
No.
I'm going to guess, let's see. Is it politically correct in our day and age to go ahead and guess a woman's age?
You
no, it's
can't.
never.
No,
It won't
but she
offend me.
seems like
Yeah, I'm
she's
fine with it.
Somewhere between 28 and 31.
Oh gosh, I love you.
No?
Keep going.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't she though?
Oh, yeah. When I
Okay,
first
so
saw her,
it's
I thought she
milky
was
white.
25.
Down 35.
Yeah.
I thought she was 25.
Actually, the truth is, honest God,
Yeah.
she had said, she was 25, 28.
I'm just gonna
No
come
doubt
here
about
every day and start my day this way with you all.
There you
There you go.
Mm.
Yes. tell you're jealous to be husband because these scoundrels will lure after you. Okay? But oh yes, how are you doing? Just be patient, young man. How are you? I suppose you want to take us into advertisements.
Yeah, we all missed you.
Somebody missed me.
Everybody missed you.
Yeah. Well, we really like you when you're gone.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna love me when I'm gone.
That's right.
You're gonna write me a song. No. So Melissa DePriest is in here. This is a distinguished lecture series. Let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about these individuals that are coming. Don't let me forget to talk about. He's going to talk to us about Alzheimer's disease. I know that's supposed to be funny. Don't remind me. You get it? Okay. Anyway, but the point is, they say that the first person who will be healed of Alzheimer's is walking the earth now. That's exciting news. There's a lot to discuss here. This is the mayor of the airwaves. Today's broadcast brought to you by the Tides. When's the last time you went to the Tides?
About 2 weeks ago.
Lovely
Excellent.
restaurant.
With the hurricane, the tides might come to us.
On that note, we'll take a break.
Good to see you, Rhett.
You too, my friend.
I missed you. Glad you're back. Although I do think it's funny you came back right when the hurricane
I
hit.
came back so I could leave.
That's right. Are you gonna leave?
Yeah, but don't say it on the air because it leaves the house vulnerable.
Oh.
I've had thieves come. Last time when I was out of town, remember the summer and I went to Vermont?
Yeah.
So some guy comes up to the house. You know, I know that you've seen my new car. It has 184,000 miles on it. It's because I'm gonna, what do you call it when they put the stuff on the side? Shrink it.
Yeah.
Shrink it. Because there's a firm in town that they want, they're a sign company, they're changing their name from Signs in a Day to 360. So we're gonna do a little trade. So instead of costing me $3,000, I get a trade, you know, so it's a nice sweeping sign, Bureau's Voice.
Oh,
Your
cool.
voice, your magazine.
Nice.
But anyway, what was my point of this whole thing? Oh, so I have my car. It has 184,000 miles on it.
Really?
Yeah, I got a deal. I got it for $4,000. But anyway, so
Brand new.
so that's parked in the driveway. There's no sign on it. It's not for sale. So it's a little unacceptable that a guy came and rang the doorbell. And Barbara came and said, well, I was wondering if you wanted to sell your car.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a baloney.
Yes.
He's checking out. What do you call that when they do that?
Yeah, they're like scoping out.
Scoping out.
See,
Yeah.
she's young. She knows the
Scoping.
terminology there.
Yeah.
Or casing.
Casing.
Casing. That's it. Yeah.
Casing. Casing out the.
It was funny because
I know stalking.
my pastor, who's in his late 60s, the senior pastor of the place, he was seeing some high school kids walking around. He's like, "Uh-oh, they're casing the joint."
Oh, could you bring two of them? I'm thirsty.
Well,
too.
sure enough, they were playing Pokemon Go.
Oh,
so he's like, "But I saw them with their cameras out, taking pictures."
Yeah.
So he
Oh,
assumed they were
everywhere you
casing
see
it.
that.
Yeah, but now it's a good cover for casing the joint.
Mhm.
If you are casing the joint, pretend like you're playing Pokemon Go.
Right. Yeah.
Did you come up with that?
Well, I just thought about it when he said
That's
that.
very
Yeah.
good. See
Mhm.
that?
Because he was saying, "Oh, we're like,
Look,
oh,
if
they're
this
playing
thing being a
Pokemon Go."
priest doesn't ever work out, maybe you might.
He's got some
There you
good,
go.
good
Yeah,
ideas
there
on
you
it.
go.
Yeah, Pokemon, you. No Pokemon, yeah. Oh, hi.
We got a plan.
Hello, Mrs. Vanderbilt.
Thank
Thank you, sir. It's obligatory to have the engineer with the tattoos and stuff.
Required.
Actually,
If you had someone nice in there with a tie, everyone would think, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing." That's why he's got to wear a
It's
tie.
obligatory. We're talking about your tattoos. We're talking about.
I don't read lips. What?
We're talking about your tattoos. I said, well, it's obligatory to have an engineer that has tattoos.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, you asked that on the application for this employment.
Actually, that would be illegal, wouldn't it? I don't know.
Nah, it's called art.
Oh, you got us. We're on YouTube, so we're live on YouTube too. Okay,
10 seconds out.
It's right there.
see that?
I'll behave.
I noticed you have the camera on the pretty girl. See that? What do you have? The side of my head.
Yeah, I noticed you can't see red at all.
Hey, this is the mayor of the airways. It's another beautiful day in paradise. How are you? Nice hot cup of coffee in front of me. How would you like a hot cup of coffee this morning? Get out the CJ Cannons. a restaurant with a beautiful panoramic view of Vero's Municipal Airport Strip for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And I haven't called Chuck to find out how they're going to, what they're going to do.
Yeah,
I know the
yeah.
last time they closed shop when Francis came, but then the local government, I guess, hired them, and they were, but then there was a bunch of controversy afterwards, like saying, "Oh, he wouldn't want me to really bring this up. Oh, you're trying to make money off of." No, he was doing a service to the community. You know, isn't it amazing? There's always somebody there to pick on you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
he's inland, so he probably will be okay.
I mentioned the other day on Facebook about Hillary staying up here at the Fancy Schmancy Hotel and speaking down. Did you see my posting or no?
No.
Okay, you don't. You
No, I see your postings all
okay, well, you need to.
and I comment on them too.
Oh, you do? Good. You should.
You
So
don't read
you
my
probably saw
comments.
my posting about Hillary. They got like thousands of responses, but it was all about picture. And but anyway, so some guy writes, "Well, you got your house over here up on point. Why don't you come off your high horse? Blah blah blah. You ought to try some humility, man." And that really ticked me off.
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, well, I interviewed Billy Graham. And Billy Graham said, Dr. Graham said, I brought up humility." He said, "Well, Red, if we're discussing it, we haven't got it." No, bring it. Yeah, isn't that true? Melissa, the priest, is here to talk to the priest. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning.
And we have the priest in here, and his name is?
Richard Demsick,
Yes, how are you, Richard?
doing
Good
well.
to see you. He's sporting his little, what do you call it?
Yeah, the collar.
Collar.
Yeah, it's the same clergy collar.
He wears his collar for radio.
Yeah, that's right. So everyone can hear the collar against my throat and know, oh, yeah. He's
Well, actually,
prestigious.
we are on YouTube right
Yeah,
now. So,
That's true.
So, and we have Professor Stanford Erickson in here. How you doing, Professor?
I'm fine. I'm so happy that you're having us today.
Mhm.
today.
I'm happy to have you. And Melissa DePriest is the program director for the Felden Institute for Lifelong Learning at the Indian River State College, and a position she's held since 2015. And prior to directing programs for lifelong learners, she was responsible for handling the scholarship program through the foundation. She's been employed at IRSC since 2003. You've been around for a while.
Yep.
For such a young lady. Melissa was born and raised in St. Lucie County. She earned a bachelor's degree in public relations from the University of Florida and a master's degree in public administration from Nova Southeastern University. Where's that located?
They actually came up to St. Lucie County to teach
Oh.
us, but the main campus is down, I believe, in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, now hold on. A master's degree in public administration.
Mhm.
Well, define that, would you?
Public administration would be entities like any public or county office. Certainly, a college would fall under that umbrella. Managing public funds, budgeting to cover public programs.
Well,
things
in
like
this
that.
day and age, too. You know, I had thought about wanting to start. I own feedone.org, and I wanted to start a program to feed hungry people. I don't think anybody should. So I figured, I even wrote the jingle, "Feed one, that is all we're asking. Feed one, a reward everlasting is waiting for the one who'll answer the call to come and feed one." But this was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I still haven't done it, but you know why? Because I'm not an administrator like you.
Mm.
And if you don't dot the I and cross the T's,
Mhm.
they'll come after you,
Mhm.
as it should be. But the scrutiny is,
Well, thankfully, we in this community at least we have organizations like the Source that
Yeah.
feed homeless people.
And
And
Harvest.
very well meals.
But I'm
Very
talking
good
about the
meals. Yeah,
administrative, you have to have
Harvest
somebody
for
like you,
food
though, to
Mhm.
dot the I and cross the T's,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
That's gotta be tough.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to take into consideration, especially when public funding is involved.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting program. I learned a lot. for
What
sure.
happened, there's a whole thing in a local periodical about the food bank.
Mhm.
And perhaps the mishandling of some funds there. Now, I happen to love the food bank. We've contributed to the food bank regularly. Obviously, I like food, and I don't want anybody going hungry. That's my language of love.
You're keeping your own food bank.
But when funds are designated for something,
Mhm.
you have to do what they're designated for.
Absolutely.
And the problem, because I've been with Elam Oceanary Institution, used to help them and be on their board and so forth. And once it comes in there, they have so many pressing needs
Yeah.
that, and I'm not being critical, but they have very pressing needs. And so they take the money from one place and put it there.
Yeah, like
It's
they
not
got, they got 100 grand for a new truck. So instead of buying a new truck for 35,000, they got a used truck.
Yes.
But the problem is, it's supposed to be a refrigeration truck, and I guess the refrigeration unit in the refrigeration truck isn't working so well. So now all of a sudden it's come to light, and it goes, was it John's Island gave him 100 grand, or somebody gave him 100 grand, and you know,
Royal
so
Palm, Point, the,
Quail?
no,
No,
no.
doesn't
Grand Harbor,
matter.
Grand,
Oh, Grand
someone
Harbor.
living in Grand Harbor.
gave him 100 grand for that truck.
Well, Public gave him 100 grand for that truck,
Who did?
Publix.
Oh,
And-
Publix, that's
And
right,
then,
Publix. My favorite food store. Let's go right now.
A couple in Grand Harbor gave him 50,000 and designated that too. And apparently, according to the article, they mishandled the money. They didn't steal the money, they just put it in other areas.
Yeah.
Because and Melissa knows this, there's so
Sure.
many, they're under such pressure
Yeah.
and there's not enough money.
Well,
But
we had
they
to
have
close the
to
doors.
go.
We got our new truck, but we weren't allowed to pay
Yeah.
the electric bill. So,
Yes.
you know, you have got to give freedom to
That's
the
right.
CEO and administrators to breathe. You know, even in the scriptures, it says the letter of the law causeth death. The spirit of the law causeth life. I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about forgiveness, since we have the priest in there. And that is this, that I was wondering, well, we did a whole study in the Bible. I don't know if I was thinking this last night or whatever, but I said, do a whole study of the Bible. Does God lean more to law, or does he lean more towards mercy? The answer is evident. It's
Yeah.
mercy.
Absolutely.
So I was thinking, hey, you know, because he doesn't want, who does he like? He likes the guy. Moses killed a guy. Moses was David was a rebel, yet a man after his own heart. So who does God really treasure?
The guy beating his chest and saying, "I'm not worthy." Yeah,
Yeah, but that's the is repentant.
that's
And he
right.
loves Rhett too,
Oh, that's if he loves me, that'll be remarkable.
So
So the distinguished lecture series on current issues is coming to. Where does this take place?
At the Mueller campus, the Richardson Center
Here?
here in Vero Beach.
So convenient.
Yep, and we also repeat the lecture the same afternoon in Martin County at our Chastain campus.
Nah, oh, you mean through video or?
Nope, so we'll have a morning lecture in Vero and then we'll
And you make them
travel
speak
south
twice.
with the speaker. Yep.
Yeah, well,
They'll
that's good to
speak
milk
twice
them
in-
for all you can, because you know, I remember when Tom Brokaw came to town, he got $100,000, but at least he had to speak twice. Hey, we got to take a break. What's the website?
www.irscfoundation.org, O-R-G.
Say that again slowly.
www.irscfoundation.org.
Melissa DePriest, great to know you.
Great.
You're a very nice young lady, and I hope we can work together in the
Yes.
future. This is the mayor of the airwaves. Hey, Mr. Priest here, would you, how do you address a priest? Hey, yo, priest.
Pastor,
Hey, yo, tell him we'll be right
Yeah.
back.
we'll be right back with Rhett Palmer. Didn't get the Rhett.
in addition to that, they have a peer learning group
Yes.
where I teach.
A
like a
peer
TED
learning
Talk.
group.
Yes.
Thing.
Mhm.
Oh, like a
And so-
TED Talk?
Yeah, so they have a second, in
Yeah,
in
feel
addition
This
to
one
the
looks really
the
interesting.
distinguished series, they have a peer, which is
You
people
know,
like
I've
Were
always
you
wondered if,
surreptitiously videotaping?
because you hear a lot
Is that
about
on?
inequality growing in
I know I
America.
can.
The reality is globally inequality
But
is
you might
shrinking.
want to ask, because I'm teaching that.
And so I just
Oh, okay.
wonder, is how much is inequality really growing in America?
Right.
And what are the best ways of looking at that? Because
Well, I think he will be a great person to speak to that. He recently, I think, left Oppenheimer Fund since this has been published. I think he's retired and doing some private consulting, but he definitely has experienced a lot in his career. So
I've heard that Vero Beach is actually the city or the county that has the most inequality in the country.
really,
Yes, yeah, we have,
wow.
Red told me we have 39 billionaires here.
Yeah.
In this area.
I did?
Yeah.
I
Somebody said,
do. Yeah, somebody told me that, and I think.
I know, I heard on the radio.
It's quite a few. So it's gotta
Yeah,
be true. So
no,
it's gotta be
it's
true.
gotta be true. That's right.
I don't think we have 39 billion.
I thought,
You think so?
that, that's
I remember hearing that. That sounds a bit much though, but maybe
it sounds
not.
a bit much, but
You
it was
know?
on your program.
But
so I
everywhere I
thought
go,
was-
there must be a lot of wealth, because I run into a lot of rich people.
Yeah.
I go, why can't I have my own private?
And there's a lot of poor people in this community too.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's both sides.
Do you get both at your church?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
get like
absolutely.
you get the desperately poor coming in
Oh.
for a handout.
Absolutely.
But are there some people that work the system? They know, hey, hit up the churches, you know?
I have a policy specifically that no one is allowed to ask for money to another parishioner. Like they can ask me for money,
Yeah.
but on Sunday, you know.
Oh,
you can't,
no.
You know, and I've had someone do that. And I had
Although
to
I
take them
broke that
aside.
rule, you know why?
What?
Because I asked Mark if he would help support having you have a show on here.
Oh well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's a little
different. Yeah, that's all right.
But
That was not money for you.
No.
but-
Well, yes, it was actually. And
Well, okay,
I would
that's
make a
true.
profit
Actually,
off of it.
yeah.
Not much, but
So
Well, they're just, in this
see, that's
area,
the
there are
thing
no
when you
jobs.
know having to
There
work for
isn't-
profit.
unless,
There's just no jobs,
You know?
unless you want to be a waiter.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
guys
say,
work for
that's
the
about
government.
it.
You know that
Which is
government
why the
workers now
source
retire
is
7
trying to
times
figure
as
out
fast
how
as
to
those
get
of us in the private sector.
those
7
people
times.
employed in the
Doesn't feel
restaurant.
like
When I was a young
That's really where the jobs are right
When I
now.
was a young guy,
But
you worked for the
that's a tough
government, or
job.
you worked for
It is.
education.
It's very-
You had the security,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so you were always going to have a job. But because of the security, you weren't guaranteed. You were going to do okay when you were
On the
retired.
other hand,
Mhm.
It's gotten a little out of hand.
Starting to
When
do more
someone who comes
construction
out
in
and
this
takes
town.
chances,
yeah, starting to
Right.
and then
see
you
a
know,
little growth.
it's,
Yeah,
So,
but they,
you know, it's like, and it's what these people. There was a lady sat in your seat. She used to be on your radio station down there.
Okay.
And she had a good show. Very intelligent, very nice lady. But
with the
now she's
internet
got
and
retirement.
things like that, there
Okay.
are
I've
types
taken
of
all these
companies that can
chances for
draw
23
you.
years.
Right.
But
I don't have retirement.
you don't
Like,
have
okay,
sophisticated people in administrative roles to create that.
Kyle will
Because
have
they're
a
all
great
60
retirement.
years old.
Now he's starting at
That's
30, so he's
30-year-old
30.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
job candidate.
he'll probably be able to
So
retire, what,
they have to hire
55?
young
As
people
being a
like that.
professor?
Yeah, I
25
think the
Yeah,
the
rule
problem
of
is
thumb
if they hire
is,
someone young
I
like that,
believe,
the older
30
people aren't gonna
years
listen
for
to
So he'll
full
be 60.
retirement
They're gonna think,
or
what do they
age
know?
62.
They're young.
Well, I'm
Whichever.
62.
They have to.
The thing is,
they
the
have to
thing is,
learn.
though, there is
You
one
can
thing that
learn
I'm
from
not
everyone.
mentioning.
And honestly,
to
it's
be
a
fair,
problem
and
that
is
we
that
have
I have more freedom than
in
most
my
people.
church.
Like,
Right.
I just went away for a
Because
month.
they look at me and they think, what does he know?
Regular folks couldn't afford to
And I'm
do
trying
that.
to
Right.
say, this
I
is the
played the
future,
best out of
guys.
them.
You know, we
Yeah,
gotta
so-
pay
Right.
attention.
So there is,
Well,
Yeah, I mean, there's things
all
to
said,
balance,
yeah.
you know,
brought
out.
together.
Mm.
But we can definitely talk
Works
about
together because
some
it brought together.
advertising and
God's
things
in
like that.
charge.
for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
So they have to
Yeah.
assume that
Yeah,
you're
that
there.
would be
yeah, I'd love to help
That's
promote
right.
you. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
definitely sell tickets
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
The
I've
theater
come to
guild says every
conclusion
time that they do a show,
that
they'll do an
Those
open
who
show
use
Thursday
social
night. I'll watch
cannot
it, or I'll
move
send
God
someone
because
to
they wanna
watch it.
do it themselves.
And they
wanna
come on
control-
Friday and said, on
wanna
that
control
day
the
that
weather,
we're
they
on,
wanna
we have to
control
hire
this.
someone else extra to
And-
answer the phone for the
and-
ticket sales.
Wow.
God's in
And I've heard
charge.
that from multiple people.
And
by the way,
so
but
it's
they
not
don't
something
see
they
it.
made
Yeah.
up.
Well, I'm
to
sure
say.
On a
that will be
political
the same
level,
for us, so I'll keep you
one of
posted.
my
Oh, this is definitely.
frustrations is that
I mean, I went
Republicans
to
need
JI
to
for like, some of
rephrase
the
the
speakers
debate
here,
into
they all,
that exact issue
they all
that
know
you
me
said.
up there.
It's whether you believe
And that's who your market is.
Right.
It's more affluent, better
That's,
educated.
that's exactly.
That's a good thing about talk radio is dumb people
Yeah.
don't listen.
Yeah.
I can't even
It's
say that on
something-
the air because the
And I'm
dummies don't
writing
listen.
about that. Oh, good. It's,
That doesn't
I
necessarily mean
absolutely agree.
Yeah.
because
The,
I've had 3 or
my wife
4 long guys
doesn't trust God.
come up to me and tell me they
I
listen.
see this hurricane coming,
Of course, long
And
guy,
I
I'm
trust
from
God.
upstate New York,
Yeah.
where a long guy
Prepare.
might live
Yeah.
on 25,000.
and she said,
Down
maybe
here,
we
the
should
long
just
guys
go. I
make
said, we've got a house with
150,000 a
13
year.
years.
They do
Yeah.
quite
They
well.
do well, yeah,
But-
and they work hard.
But it's
Moses-
the independent
Yeah.
thinkers,
Psalm 90 says our
the
days are
intellectuals.
numbered.
I have like
Yeah.
15
So that's
doctors,
gonna
whatever
have
that
to-
sponsors.
their
All
it.
right, we're coming
Most
back,
of
you
them were
guys
listening
and gals.
before they became sponsors. you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's Professor Stanford Erickson has brought a beautiful visage into the studio this morning.
So nice to hear that. You're trusted. You know, maybe you should have Hillary, because Hillary needs to be trusted. You should teach her how to be trusted. What do you think?
Well, listen, I want to say this. I met Hillary.
Mm.
Hillary treated me nice.
Oh.
I know, and you know, this is much to the dismay of all the conservative friends I
Sure.
have. And yes, I am going to be voting for Mr. Trump, but does he scare me? Yes.
Yes.
And after seeing Mr. Pence on TV, I would, oh please, could that guy? I was thinking last night, I said, I wonder if God has a plan, like something's going to happen to Trump.
No, we
And
don't.
this guy was so presidential last
It
night.
was excellent.
And the other guy was like, what are you doing? How embarrassing to be so interruptive. I mean, it's just rude. I think,
Yeah.
don't you think even, I mean, whether you're, pumping gas or you're a garbage collector, or you're the CEO of a corporation, or, don't you think that people recognize that rudeness? Why would he do that?
I think he was insecure. He knew that Hillary handlers wanted him to take on Pence. And
Well,
and that's not his
These
nature.
handlers need to take a step away. Look what happened with Sarah Palin a few years
Oh,
ago.
yes.
And when Katie Couric, goes up and says, "What do you read?"
Maxine.
And you go, "Oh, well, first of all, okay, here's the deal. I can understand this. Okay, I'm the governor. And I got all these people telling me what to do. Well, if I tell you that I read Woman's Day, you're going to think I'm an inferior woman that just wants to care about recipes. If I tell you that I read the New York Times, I'm pegged as a liberal. If you tell me I read the Wall Street Journal, I'm pegged as far right, financial. I mean, because everybody wants to block somebody in. They want to pigeonhole you. If I tell you, so no wonder she froze up. I mean, this is my. I haven't interviewed Sarah. I hope that'll happen one day. But she lost my vote when she couldn't answer that. That was it.
Really?
It was over.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
Well,
I mean, you can't
There were other
make
things
up
that-
some John F. Kennedy said, at least Jack Kennedy said, he said, I read 5 newspapers every morning.
Yep.
So, say you read something.
Well,
what I mean?
she did.
Say,
She
say
said-
you read the want ads. I don't.
She said she read all of them. That's what she said. I think that she was kind of dismissing the question. She was thinking, this is a dumb question. I read things,
And you
whatever.
never know what's going to be historic. Like, for
Yeah,
instance,
you really don't.
I got to interview Dan Quayle years ago.
Mm.
And by the way, in the studio, we have Melissa DePriest from the local university, and we have DePriest
Pastor-
himself.
Yeah. Pastor Richard Demsick.
And now
Christ
that
Church.
I've introduced him, I forgot what I was going to say.
you interviewed
Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle.
Dan
Quayle.
Quayle. And I will say this. Remember when he was on the stage with who was the vice presidential candidate?
Lloyd Benson.
Mm.
And Dan Quayle mentioned bringing up Jack Kennedy. Now, he was a handsome guy,
Mhm.
but he should not have ever brought John Kennedy. And Lloyd Benson said, I was friends with Jack Kennedy, by the way, and you're no Jack Kennedy.
Yeah,
It was over for Dan Quayle. And I will say this.
great line.
Dan Quayle inherited, I don't know, $400 or $500 million a guy.
Mhm.
And I do not think I'm presidential material, believe me. So I told you that before we went on the air, that I have no administration skills. Okay. And Dr. Massey, I could never do Dr. Massey's job. But so when I met Quayle, though, I have to say, it's the first time I went, oh my God, there, but for a $500 million inheritance, I should have been. This sounds arrogant. I should have been the vice president before that guy should have been the vice president. And of the two, his wife or him, his wife would get 100 points from me.
His wife was
He
very
would get
impressive.
about 8 points from me.
His wife's very
He was
impressive
not-
lawyer,
he was
a
not
very
very-
impressive person.
Why did Bush,
Well, he was from Indiana. I think they needed Indiana. I mean, that's what
that makes sense.
I mean, Pence is from Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah,
It's
Pence
the
is from
way that-
Indiana too.
It's the way that they pick vice presidential candidates. They're just a name and a face.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I'm
so.
saying-
I think if Romney, remember, I got to meet Romney last time. I voted for Romney. I met Mrs. Romney, put her on the cover of our magazine. Lovely couple. I thought he was very presidential. But where was I going with that?
You were going to
As
say
vice
that
president.
as vice president, it would be very helpful, maybe, to
Oh,
balance
no.
Trump.
If they lost by 3 million votes.
Yeah.
Had they taken on Rubio, they would have easily gotten 3 million Hispanic votes.
Maybe.
He only lost by 3 million. And those 3 million were the conservatives. I'm not going to come out because of the prejudice. I'm not going to come out and vote for a Muslim. Not a Muslim. What is he? Mormon. Anyway.
Well, the fantasy world that I always wanted to live in was if Trump would have picked Bernie Sanders to be his vice president. For a lot of
Oh, my
reasons.
word.
It would have been hilarious
first
just
of all-
to see people blow a gasket and try to, comprehend that.
Thousands.
Yeah, and then
Well,
he
isn't
would have
Trump
won.
really
He would've-
a sort of a liberal incognito? I mean, because he may be fiscally conservative, but I think in many ways, I think he could satisfy a lot of Americans. They may not realize the only thing
Yeah.
he's so bombastic.
I know.
And to say to Carly Fiorina, Carly Fiorina maybe you won't look like this. I mean, like this is not what she sounds like, but this is maybe what she looks like. And I thought that as a man, boy,
A lot of Botox. A lot of Botox.
Okay, but regardless, if I had the choice to vote for Carly Fiorina today or Donald Trump, there's no doubt in my mind it would be Carly Fiorina.
Yeah.
She's an intellectual woman.
I wrote about her. She's fantastic.
She'd be our great first
When
female
she was
president.
a young lady, she was a very attractive young lady. So I assume
I don't
that,
care about that. Though.
I know,
mean,
but
you know.
the Botox,
I mean, I used to be a handsome guy too, you know. This
Still
is what
are,
happens when
Red.
I'm melting. I'm melting. Wait till you see Melissa. Enjoy your beauty. And your...
yeah.
So now
Well,
Melissa is in here. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, touching on writing about Carly, I'd love for Stanford to talk about the class he's going to teach for the Institute.
Well, why don't
Yes.
you first set up what these classes are?
Sure. So in addition to the lecture series, we have about 45 or 50 different types of classes that our members can choose from each year. And some of the classes are 4 weeks. Some of them run all season long. So say October through May. And Stanford, we're so happy, will be with us this season. And he's going to lead a course titled The Kind of Women Who Can Be President of the United States. And so what we do is put together programming that's timely, or something that could be of common interest to a lot of folks on a consistent basis, such as foreign language or meditation or something like that. But so Stanford, tell us a little bit about your course that you're going
It
to
starts
teach.
October 21st. There are three meetings of the course, and they're not really, I'm not teaching, I'm leading a discussion.
Right.
And what you want, the wonderful thing, because I've attended some of these courses, and the, in quotes, professor is a peer leader. And so I sort of set up the situation, but the 8 most courageous women I thought that were very politically successful in the 20th century. I talk about all 3 of them, including Hillary. But I discuss what my thoughts are then, and I create the premise of why I think the person is like that. But then I open it up to the audience and I have them discuss. And many of those people have been successful and have met Hillary, and they can say, well, I met Hillary, just as you said, and I like her. And she says,
she did treat me nice.
Yeah,
I have to go, no matter what somebody says about somebody, I always give them the benefit of the doubt.
absolutely.
So I don't know her heart, and
I've met
there
her.
is a lot of mean-spiritedness on both sides. The
Yeah.
far
Oh,
left
that's
is
horrible.
mean, the far right is mean. What's with that?
I agree. What's with that is the insecurity. Their thought process is based on the insecure thought basis. So therefore, they have to reinforce it continually.
Everybody wants to pigeonhole everybody.
Well,
I remember when I was younger, I sounded a little bit like Neil Diamond. Hey, he's Neil Diamond. Okay, we got him categorized, finalized, and analyzed there. Peg him. Or a Bob Dylan singer.
It can help though, actually.
Well,
when people have something to latch onto, it's something that's a little new, they're usually more receptive to that thing.
But think about it, all humans, at this late date in life, I've learned, and I told you that I wanted to write a book about the valleys.
Absolutely.
And all our lives, we're trying to get out of the valley. Okay? What makes a person of character? It never takes place when you're fat and happy.
Yeah.
It's always in the valleys that greatness is cultivated.
well, I have a little.
So we want to freeze frame people. We want to freeze frame people and say, this is what they are. This is where she begins and ends. I've got her pegged because it makes me feel secure. Let's freeze grandma and grandpa. Let's freeze the kids at this age. Let's all just freeze it. Think about it. When somebody dies, what do you want to go back? Oh, the good old days when Aunt Hattie was sitting around the coffee table and we did this and that. We all want to freeze it. Well, the river of life goes, man. It's tough. It's tough on me.
Yeah.
I've lost everybody I've loved.
Well, you learn from the valleys, but I think there's another part of it that by helping people in the valleys, you experience some of the valleys. And so you don't have to go through the valleys.
Maybe.
That's true.
You have a choice in life.
If you're Billy Graham.
Well, I think you have a choice in life. You can go through the valleys or you can help people in the valleys. And so you're on this earth to learn a lesson.
See, that's your way to not get in the valley.
Absolutely.
I'll go visit somebody in the valley,
Well,
but
I
I'm not
think
going to
you're-
live in the valley.
I
Notice
like
that?
that.
See what he's thinking?
Well, I think you have to go with the premise.
You're scared of the valley.
You're put here for a purpose. Your purpose is to grow.
Nobody wants to be in the valley.
That's right.
And I go around preaching this all the time. And then sometimes when I'm in the valley, I go, this is the valley you spoke about. Shake your own hand. You're growing. I don't want to be here.
Well, one of my theories about life is that there are certain experiences that can mature us and certain experiences that can actually immature us. We never talk about those.
Yes.
But the
Really?
experiences that actually make us less mature are the ones that are putting us in an environment where we become more self-serving. The more we focus on ourselves, the less mature we are. If you look at the things that are really maturing in life, the most maturing things that I see are when someone gets a new career, when someone gets married, and when someone has kids. And the reason is all of those things are things that push people to focus on themselves less, start being empathetic more, and have to be a little bit more selfless. You have a kid, it's crying, it's 3 a.m., you don't want to get up. It doesn't matter that you don't want to get up. It matters that your baby is crying.
Yeah.
And that matures people so quick. Just like that.
Altruism. Now, how does a guy like Billy Graham, who has accelerated now, I've met Dr. Graham. I believe he was the humblest man, truly humble, that I've ever met in my life. And when I broached the subject, I said during the commercial break, when I broached the subject of humility, he leaned in. He says, well, Red, if we're talking about it, we haven't got it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so where does this guy, though, having more humility at 20 years of age than I have as a 60-year-old guy?
I can
Where
tell
do you
you,
get that from?
it's a matter of perspective. Billy Graham, like Sanford was saying, is about trying to help people in the valley. And since he's always focusing on other people, he grows in maturity. And
Really?
with the wisdom of all those people.
So is this true?
I believe so.
Well, you have an escape plan. You don't have to live in the valley. Just help people that are in the valley. You never have to go to the valley.
Well, it's not
Somebody's listening right now going, hey, that's great.
Yeah.
What can I do?
I do think there's a level of truth to that. And sometimes we go through valleys and then we can help people that have gone through are going through the valleys that we've gone through before.
That's right.
And that's one of the help us cement the lessons in life.
Okay, now that brings us back to Mrs. DePriest that is in here, Melissa, and she works with the local, is it a university or
State College.
state college?
Mhm.
When does it officially become a university?
That would be a question for Dr. Massey and the
No,
state.
no, what I mean is, can you define that? Like,
State,
What's
a
the
university,
difference?
the difference. Okay, so a state college, prior to, I believe, 2008 was when the change happened. There was a community college system and a university system in the state of Florida. The community college system was responsible for assisting students with 2-year degrees and career training programs. So when they changed the system, the community college system, to a state college system, we now are able to offer certain baccalaureate degrees, so 4-year degrees. But we've maintained,
because the whole image has gone up, like, you know,
right,
from a 5 to a 10.
but we've maintained the purpose that we were initially founded. We still have the career training and the 2-year degree programs as well. Whereas a state university, you would have even higher education. So you'd have master's degree and doctoral degree programs and things like that. A lot of research takes place in the university system.
Do you think, now this is a hard question for you. This is
Okay.
going to be the hardest one
Put me on
probably
the
today.
spot.
Do you think people get puffed up who are intellectual? In other words, it's easy. There's a scripture that says the mind of man is enmity with Christ,
Mhm.
where we can, you know, there's a lot of learning that goes on. For instance, I'm reading a lot of these great people you're going to have in to come to the speaker series.
Mhm.
And some of the issues are, oh, that's a liberal issue. Well, I got to tell you something. I may be conservative fiscally, but I'm concerned about our ecology. I'm concerned about our responsibility for Mother Earth. And so what we really need in America today, and maybe Trump, as bombastic as he is, should he win, maybe he could marry us all. Because can you imagine having these kind of guys that are really helping, are concerned about our ecology and stuff, and marrying them to somebody who could say, well, we could do X, Y, Z, and we could also make a profit while we're doing it. Oh, so the right guys, you know, over there. And by the way, that's really deceptive because there are more billionaire and millionaire Democrats than there are Republicans. You know, I didn't know if you know that. You can
No, I didn't know
check
that.
that out. So. But the point being, anyway, there needs to be a marriage, don't you think so, between conservatism and, you know, and the extreme liberal, and somewhere in the middle we can all meet and let's work together. God's sakes, you know, instead of being paralyzed and polarized, you know. But anyways, let's talk about these fine folks you have coming in. For those who just tuned in, you know how radio is.
Yes.
People are coming in and going out. So, you know, 1,500 people that were here 10 minutes ago when we discussed this have now left, and there's a new 1,500 people. Would you talk about your speaker series coming up? It starts December 6th.
December 8th.
Oh, excuse me. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Don't have my glasses.
We have Buck Martinez, who will be speaking about advancing affordable clean energy, which is a very timely topic. In January, we have Paul Miller talking about the Indian River Lagoon and is the Indian River Lagoon under attack. One of the fascinating lectures that I don't think we've talked about will be in February 9th. Dr. Jerry Webman, who will be speaking about the inequality in the American middle class, the myths and realities. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the decline of the American middle class. So he will speak to the truth of that, if there is any. And then in March 9th, we have Dr. Dave Morgan, who will be speaking to us about Alzheimer's disease and some of the research that's taking place. And I know, Rhett, you mentioned earlier in the show that the first person who will be cured is they
Walking
estimate
the earth now. They
walking the
think it's
earth.
walking the earth. That's not
So
great
that's
news.
great news.
Because at
I
this
mean,
point, it's a death sentence.
Yes.
Everyone, it's terminal, dies if you get Alzheimer's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so he is the executive director and chief executive officer of USF's Alzheimer's Institute. And then we'll conclude our season in April 13th, with Why Does America Lose Their Regular Moors? An interesting tidbit about Dr. Daniel Green is he was a Vero Beach High School graduate.
No.
And went on to do amazing things. Certainly, he's authored a few books, and his parents are still local here. So we're very excited to have him with us in April.
Wonderful. Now, why the big logo from FPNL? Do they support you too?
FPNL is the sponsor of the lecture series, so we're very thankful for their support.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I
That's
was
what you,
telling Mrs. DePriest, is that what I should
Yes,
say? Mrs.
yes,
DePriest, okay,
yes.
Mrs. DePriest, about the interest I have with the inequality one in February, especially living in Vero Beach, because of the large inequality that exists in this community.
Mhm.
As it's
you're trying to stir up something here, boy.
well, it's just
What do you mean?
like
mean the
you said
diversity,
earlier.
or do you
There's
what do you
the rich British people speaking, and then there's the poor.
Yeah, there is a diversity.
That's right. We do have
Have and
a
have-nots.
huge disparity in this community.
You know what worries me is that really, if you're washing dishes, now I have gone on a couple of missionary trips in my life. I've been to Africa, I've been to Haiti, been some other
Mhm.
places. And I said, well, we all can be better than we have. Well, I got a house, but that guy over there has a bigger house.
Yeah.
And then that guy sitting in his house going, well, I wish I had that. And they've got a guy in town here. I was just up on, not Nantucket, where was I? I was in Bar Harbor. So I'm at a little private airport and a lot of wealthy people flying on their jets. Now here you got all these private jets. Now can you imagine? I finally arrived in life. I got syndicated and I've got my own little private jet.
Yeah.
But I pull in and then this guy pulls in next to me in a Gulfstream. And it's 5 times bigger. And I go, well, I finally thought I'd arrived. Now he's got a bigger boat. God, what's going on here? I'll tell you, Andy, it just isn't fair.
Yeah, I met a couple of people here, very nice people, but they have a house for their cars and they have a house.
Yeah.
They bought a house so they could put their cars in that house.
When I was
What
in
would be
Greenville,
really strange is if they just had a house for their cars and they didn't have a house. Yeah, that's-
in Greenwich, Connecticut, I remember walking into a large mansion once, and that's for people like Diana Ross and myself. So, and I got to say, with the vestibule you walk in was as big as a typical house here, and a large house.
Yeah.
I was like, there are people that live like this.
Uh-huh.
The only thing is, I would think maybe it would get a little lonesome.
Yeah.
I like coziness.
Mhm.
It wasn't it Thoreau who said, the wisest individuals are those who what they can live without, or something to that
Yeah, I
effect.
don't
Another
know.
quote.
That guy throwed his life away.
Thoreau. He just Thoreau'd his life
Throwed
away.
his life away.
So
Yeah.
anyway.
No, but I've heard it said that if you know where your next meal is coming from, you never have experienced true hunger.
No.
And I think that it's the same thing with poverty. If you know where your next dollar is coming from, if you have money in the bank, then you're not really in poverty. In poverty is when I don't know how I'm going to survive.
Well, let's say this happens. Let's say we all say, okay, let's all have a fast.
Mm.
And we'll all get together and we'll rent a gymnasium over your church. And a bunch of us who are prosperous, considered quote unquote the world prosperous,
Yeah.
let's all go hungry for a weekend. That ain't gonna do it.
No.
It's when you're in Africa like I was. And there's no, you go, I can't walk out the door and go, well, I don't like this environment and I'm going to go back to my playland of America. There is no escaping it. That was scary because I can remember in Zimbabwe, this little man came around. There's tea at anybody. And they speak with the British accent, you know that.
Oh,
And it's because the Brits were there. So
Now we really
and,
got it. British.
and there's tea anybody. And you know, they had signs above the toilets, please
Yeah.
don't squat, because the natives squat on the toilets, breaking the toilets. They can't get it through their head not to squat. So anyway, there's all this, and it's all overgrown where, you know, the Brits had used to be because they were administratively gifted and they didn't teach the anyway, what was the point going to be? What were we talking about? I keep losing myself.
We're talking about understanding true hunger.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and you can't leave there.
Yeah.
You know, you're thousands of miles away from affluence,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's just the man with the tea.
Mm.
Suddenly he came by and said, I don't even like tea. I said, oh yes, I would love a cup of tea. And suddenly I got the Brits. You know how you see those movies when you're a kid, you know, Tarzan or whatever, and the Brits come along and they're about to encounter Tarzan. But before they do, they set up the little white table with the white linen, and they sit there and they have their little tea with their tables, and their little slave people set up the table or whatever, you know. And you go, what's that all about? Now I get it. You want something sophisticated because you're in culture shock. It's scary. Have you ever been to a third world nation like that?
Yes.
So did you experience culture shock?
Well, when I was drafted, I went to Korea in '66,
Oh, so you've seen it.
the war had taken place.
So my point being, if we had a weekend where we all went hungry,
Mhm.
that's not going to buy it. It's when you have the fear of not knowing. Not only are you hungry, but you may die because you don't know whether there's rice coming or something coming.
I have gone on some very long fasts before, and I one of the things that I meditated on while I was doing that fast is the fact that this isn't real hunger. As much as my stomach was craving food and I felt like I needed to eat or I was going to die, and I was also choosing not to eat.
Yeah, you
and
knew there was a can of
humbling-
Campbell's soup sitting there anytime you wanted
There
to
was-
open it up. You know?
Oh, the smell too was wonderful when people were eating around me. That was the meal to me when at the time I was just, because you see all of a sudden your nose works way better.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And
Makes
you're
the
just-
olfactory sense very keen.
yeah.
All right, now we got to sum this up for this hour. So Melissa
Yes.
DePriest is in here, and she represents the speaker series that's coming up here, and we're going to talk more about it in the future. But for now, if people want to purchase tickets, where can they log on to?
They're going to go to www.irsc.edu, irscfoundation.org. And the phone number, if they'd like to purchase tickets over the phone, would be 772-462-7880.
Thank you for coming in and
Thanks
gracing
for
us with your
having me.
presence.
Thank you.
All right, this is the mayor of the airwaves. Got to take a break. We'll be right back. It's not over yet.
I'm so used to giving the college
What?
website.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. Well, thanks for coming
you.
in.
This was great. And
And are you going to leave town for the hurricane or no?
no, we're going to stay. I mean, at least that's our plan at
You have
this
cats
point.
or dogs, did you say?
Dogs.
Yeah, that's right. The two little,
Yeah.
the little brown and white ones.
Yes. I
It's a nobility, right?
that's what they say back in the olden
Yeah.
days. They
Mhm.
were
What are they called again?
Charles.
Cavalier. Cavalier.
Yeah.
Cavalier.
Cavalier.
King Cavalier. King Cavalier.
They certainly think they're fancy.
Maltese. I've had two Maltese.
Oh,
There was a time with the Maltese, and you were not royalty. They took up your head.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I learned that from a little girl who learned it on the what is it?
I like the Maltese Falcon.
The Maltese.
well, thank you.
Not at all.
This is
It's nice.
great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I know.
I mean,
You gonna stick around?
yeah, if you want me to. Okay.
And next week I'll get in touch with
Thank you
I have
so
your
much.
email
You're
address, so-
delightful.
It's nice meeting you.
Oh, yeah,
Isn't
me
she-
too.
Yeah, I don't know if
yeah.
I get a chance to go to those debates, or
Yeah,
not
please-
debates, but
Please
lectures.
do. If your schedule is open, just
Yeah.
let me know and we'd
Sounds
love
like
to
fun.
have you. Yeah.
But you have to have her
Very
do some
interesting.
talkovers. She has a voice that you listen to.
You said tacos. I
I thought too, I was like,
taco.
You do really good tacos?
I do that too. I
That's
do.
what I teach, how to make tacos.
I haven't had breakfast.
Very nice. That's
But I
awesome.
mean, would be good.
Oh, for boys?
Oh, yeah. People listen to your voice for some, you know. it's-
Yeah, we'll have you on here. We have you do some minutes. Look like, why didn't we recognize
Ah.
you on our radio
If you
station?
don't mind.
No, I would love that. That would
Yeah.
be fun.
That'd be good.
Well, thank you. I am
Yeah,
gonna take
okay.
this. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
take a
grab
couple.
my
Take a
purse.
few of them.
And I wish you all luck in the next couple
Yeah.
days.
Do you need that or is that?
No, I'll leave that. You can actually
Yeah,
keep that if you like.
yeah.
That way you have the dates and
All right,
everything.
cool. Thank you.
Will I see you next week in Bureau?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's October
Who's staying?
12th.
You
All right,
staying, you
Stan.
staying?
How you doing, brother?
Good, good.
Wife-
Okay,
I like your
so-
Boots,
I want
those are
to-
awesome.
Thanks, man.
Have you seen the show The Preacher?
Oh, yeah.
So I've got that outfit.
Did you
Not the
really?
boots, but I have, yeah, with the thing and everything.
Yeah.
It's the exact same outfit.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I had to make it myself actually,
Yeah. Well, yeah,
because they don't sell it.
Right.
Clergy shop, they wouldn't,
That's pretty cool.
so I made it, yeah.
So, what, Marshall and you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to use the orange one, so you guys can use the blue and the red.
Sounds good.
I'm still getting that
Well,
back
I'll
and
hope to
forth
see
between,
you
you know, the yellow and the orange.
And we'll have-
Oh,
we're gonna
okay.
have a big
Excuse me,
crowd
yeah,
here.
sorry.
We'll have good- good-
Okay, tell Ann, next time she comes.
I know, well, she was really disappointed, but, we have the student housing,
No, I know.
Ever been
so
to South Africa?
they're trying
No,
to,
been
they're
6 months.
evacuating the
Oh,
dogs.
yeah.
How they collect that in
And
South
we're not a
But you'll
shelter.
have fun, you see, it's easy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
easy.
Yeah, it'll be good, and she will definitely.
When you relax, I mean, you're good at this. The key is just have fun.
Right. Yeah, it was fun, that was fun, and it goes by so quick, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, Red's delightful. It's cute.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very,
Uh-oh, I
very
failed
easy
table
going in
duty.
there, so it was good. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Shane told me that when Rudd was making that. I was like, you're the one to say. You didn't know that, did you? I'm not ratting them up. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you. Thank you for coming by the
Yes,
show.
no, thank you. And, yeah, hopefully so, but like I said, we'll get in touch about some
Sure.
advertising and
Sure.
picture and everything.
So what do you think about the cover?
I want to be a part of your continued success.
All right, thank you. You guys have a
Now,
great
this is
day.
not the first year you're doing this, or it is?
This is, my third season, as the program director.
Your turnout was pretty good last year?
That's one of ours.
Yeah.
Leon had it.
Okay.
So we're
That's your
just
house.
gonna keep
No,
playing.
no,
Like I
that-
said, we'll
yeah,
set
no,
up some
no.
meetings if they want to make themselves available.
But do you know there was no sun
Yeah,
that
no,
day?
there's
It was
definitely.
this pitch blackout thunderstorm and took that. So we created with our lighting and so forth, that sunlight.
Which program do you use?
We didn't do it. We did it by ISO setting a lens. And lenses that we use. That's a,
This is free, not post-production.
yeah, that's great. And we did it with a 14 millimeter official.
Nice.
Yeah, so. Took us an hour and a half to get the shot.
Sure. Wow, cool. Good job, man. Is your girlfriend or your wife?
My cousin, my wife's in South Africa. She was deported, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Your wife's in South
Are you
Africa?
a real estate
I
professional?
had no idea.
Would you like to work with a
Yeah,
solid
she
team of
was a
people
Latin,
who
so
have
the United
professional
States
careers in real
government
estate
said
and are outlisting and
now
outselling
my-
most of
my
the
daughter
competition? You can put your
and
real
her two
estate
children
career
are on
in
the
high
run.
gear now. Let me
Trying to
introduce
sell
you to
by
Mr. John King.
Is what that will
Expert
do.
Realty.
And
He's a
at the
broker
time
and
we shipped her
broker
off to
with
Texas,
a
and
long
the United
history of
States government
integrity
will
and
tell
honesty.
you
Plus, you'll get the best commission split and support you can count on. He's
That's why
creating
when I
a
hear
team
about immigration, I'm like,
that works together.
I've been through
Contact Mr.
Hope
$20,000.
you're safe.
Remax Crown Realty in Grove. 772-589-3054. 772-589-3054. Indian River Walk-in Clinic was voted best urgent care 2 years in a row.
1 minute.
Because it is the best. With great providers, convenient hours, great location, a staff that cares, Indian River Walk-in Clinic, Miracle Mountain is a 94 95% patient satisfaction rate. Best part is that Riverwalk Clinic is moving to a brand new space twice the size, just a few doors down from the present location. So if you need fast, friendly medical care, visit Indian River Walk-In Clinic near the Royal Plaza. They'll make you feel better now.
As the body's largest organ, skin is the great protector. Skin
We do
cancer
not
is
have
the most
that.
common of all cancers.
What we do
Protects
is,
the health of
my
your
next
skin
door
with
neighbor
regular exams by a
pays
board-certified
$373
dermatologist.
a month for
Specializing in the
Habitat
treatment of skin cancer,
Yeah,
Treasure Coast
okay.
Dermatology has
It's a
offices
better
in
house than I
Garden,
have.
St. Lucie,
It's
and Indian River counties.
$1,875.
Our nearest location in
Yeah.
Vero Beach.
It's
Call
welfare,
toll-free
health benefits, and benefits. I'm sorry, dude, but I'm a vet, and I don't.
Oh, she's beautiful. She's beautiful inside and out.
The first time I saw her, I thought she was 25, and I didn't realize she was in charge. Because, I mean, she looks so young.
Okay, microphone's on.
Blue mic, red mic.
Remember, we're on YouTube now.
Yep. So I won't say anything off, that's somewhat obscene, right? No, I enjoyed your choir director. He was so good.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to be back in the seat. We have the priest in here today. Melissa D. Priest has left, but D. Priest is still here.
That's right.
And he is,
Pastor Richard Demsick, the pastor at 923 Community in Christ Church in Vero Beach.
what is this 923 community?
923 Community.
Sounds like a
So
radio
glad you
station.
asked. Yeah. It's actually a reference both to the address of the church, which is 923 14th Lane, and it is also 923 is a reference to Mark 923.
Which says,
It's where a father came up asking for Jesus to heal his son. And he
Oh.
said, Jesus, if it is possible, would you heal my son? And Jesus said, to those who believe, all things are possible. And I love the response the father had. He said, I do believe, but help me in my unbelief.
hmm,
And we both believe in 923 Community that all things are possible, but we also believe that if you're struggling with your belief, if you're struggling with hope, if you're struggling with having faith, that we can help you, and
Have
God answers that.
have you done any funerals yet?
I have, yeah. In fact, actually, one of the first acts I did as a pastor years and years ago was my own grandmother's funeral.
Death, my mother used to say, death is so final,
Yeah.
so quiet, you know. And Jesus said, the dead are aware of nothing.
Mhm.
Because there are those that want to say, you know, well, you're going to go open. Now, if you technically want to say that there's going to be a resurrection, then from the, it's like going to sleep
Mhm.
and you wake up, it's 8 hours later. Perhaps the moment you die, you know, you're in front of the judge or whatever. But,
That's my theory too. I agree with that theory.
yeah, but I don't want to die.
Yeah.
I do not like this death thing. I would like to, God, could you please come up with another plan?
One of the things.
Please, Mr. Custer, I don't want to die. Did you ever hear that song, Sean? That was big back in the 50s, and it's find it. Please, Mr. Custer. You ever hear it? Please, Mr. Custer, I don't want to die. See if you can find it. See if you
I
can
think
find it.
that's natural. I think God has written into us a desire to live and make the most of this life that we've been given. There's this, it's actually a rap song that my brother Robert sometimes even does in church, but there's this quote from it that says, my life is a gift, so I'm going to live it to death. You know, and so every day is a gift. I'm going to live it. I'm going to live it to death, or something like that. I don't know exactly how it goes, but I love the idea.
Life is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Yeah, my life is a gift, so I'm going to live it to death. I'm going to live it to the nines until I die. You know, so I like that quote.
Rage against the falling of light.
Mm.
Remember the poem?
No,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
you know any more of it?
No, just that. But you rage against the failing of the light.
Whose water is this?
That's
Is
a
this
good
yours?
one. I think that's mine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a beautiful quote. I like that. Yeah.
Mm.
So we live this moment. It's the present. The only thing we have
One
control over,
moment in time.
best we can.
She's gone. And then her daughter dies the same way in a bathtub.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, here was this little.
Devon.
Huh? No, not Devon.
Oh, who?
You know who that was? One moment in time. What's her name? With a W. Yeah, Whitney Houston. I mean, here's this little not even that attractive little black girl who's singing in church
Amazing voice.
with an amazing voice, and she grows up to be beautiful. Talk
She
about,
grows up well, and she also then grows up to be an addict. That's what
well, maybe she
fame
should.
isn't good for everybody.
You know, the Bible says, beware of your companionship, for it ruins good character. Maybe she wasn't hanging with Bobby Brown,
Yeah.
you know? But you can't really just blame Bobby Brown either, because we all have our choices, right?
If you have all the success in the world and addiction, you have a difficult and painful life. That's the thing. We think we just need more, but sometimes we need less of certain things.
Mhm. All right, VP candidates come out swinging. Now,
Yeah.
that's on the front cover of the Press Journal. Now, that's a lie.
One of them swung.
Yeah, they're liberal
That
guys.
is a
swung.
lie. I didn't like that lead. That's
Yeah.
It
terrible.
is. Well, first of all, the other guy came out swinging, but I gotta say, Senator Pence. No,
Governor
Governor
Mike Pence.
Mike Pence, I'm calling him Prince Pence, came out and was so elegant, he did not return retort for retort.
Mhm.
He, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, even all the liberal commentary people last night were all saying they were shocked. Their mouths, they're physically made that scene, but their mouths had dropped wide open. They were astounded at the amazing ability of Mr. Pence not to return vitriol.
Now
He's
there's
a very well balanced individual. That he could maintain himself when someone's attacking him
Yeah.
and not react.
They said he was running for the next
I was
election.
about to say that. Yeah.
You know?
That
Well, I saw Obama
Yeah.
years ago before anybody knew Obama. And I said, that guy is going to be president of the United States one day. I didn't know what happened so quick. And I have to admit that I immediately liked him.
Mhm.
And I saw Pence, and I'm trying to say, okay, so I immediately thought presidential material. But can somebody conservative be, which is dangerous? There should be a warning going out to America, because if we only elect the far left and the liberals, it doesn't work. I've had world-class economists, people that I'm not probably fit to shine their shoes, come into the studio. And they have said conclusively, the most brilliant minds, that our system works best when there's a balance.
Mhm.
You know, now I'm befuddled with the polarization, and hence the frozen state we've been in the past few years. Somebody's got to move. You know, it's like they're at the chessboard. Nobody's willing to move.
Well, this is a very scary election, because we don't want to continue what we have.
Mhm.
I voted for President Obama the first time, and I soon discovered I made a major mistake, because I had not done my research. Normally I do. I study up on it, but I was so enthralled with the thought that we could have an African American as president, be a watershed moment, and we move into past all this terrible time, which we brought on ourselves, but it would enhance our country. It would take us to the next stage where we're supposed to be. And Mr. Obama exacerbated the problem. That was the problem.
I was excited when Obama was elected that at least, and I didn't vote for him. I wasn't excited about it, that part, but at least we were going to have a president that was an amazing orator.
Yes.
I'm so impressed at his, as someone who gives sermons and public speaks for a living, I was impressed at his ability to catch people. And I thought, if he could just give people that hope, that we could make a lot of changes just on that alone. And then his inaugural speech was the most depressing speech that was about the realistic difficulties that they have as running the country. And I thought, he's not even going to do that. He's so good at just keep running for president as president, and you'd be a better president than what he's done.
Who is this?
Obama.
Really?
That he's so good at speaking and motivating people. If he just continued to do that, instead he said, "Well, I'm going to learn how to." What is the quote? It's something about governing the state instead of running for it. And he even admitted that he's better at running for it than he is at actually governing it.
He admitted that.
And he did, yeah. I heard there was a quote where he
Well,
said that.
I mean, it's a
Well,
young man.
But this happens in life. It's called the Peter Principle. They raise you up to your level of incompetence. In a business situation, they have somebody, he's our top seller. Yeah, he brought in $14 million from sales. Let's make him the president. And he gets up there, the guy doesn't have any administrative skills. Historically, great salespeople don't make great managers.
That's right.
And my at least theory is that if Obama had decided that he's going to continue to be a great salesman president
Yeah.
and never try to be a manager president,
Yeah.
then he would have been remembered as one of the greatest presidents.
Whoa. Say that again?
I think that if Obama had decided that he was going to be a great salesman president and not even try to be a manager president, then he would
Okay,
have been
how
remembered.
so? In other words, put great people around him and just sell their ideas?
And
Like
yeah,
Trump, they said last night, even the liberals the liberal commentators were saying that you want to see the kind of people that Trump's going to pick. Well, this is indicative.
I was thinking that too, that he had many people that he could have picked. He picked Pence.
Yeah.
And Pence is head and shoulders
But right now,
most people.
But right now, I hate to tell you this, but Trump is not going to win unless things turn around.
The only way it could turn around is this Sunday. He gives
Now,
another.
you've lived longer than I have.
Yes.
Have you ever seen it turn around? I mean, she's what, 7 points ahead of him on average? 5
No,
to 7?
I have not. But Trump is a different type of candidate. What I saw, I covered Governor Reagan.
Mhm.
I'm from California.
Did you get to meet him?
Oh, I interviewed him. I met him 4 times.
don't be jealous.
I've
Be
been in press
happy for
conference.
him.
I am happy for you, but I want to meet him, and now I can't.
Well, I was
He's
in press
dead.
conferences.
Let's talk to the priest about that.
But when he ran against
God bless you and God bless America. Stanford. It's good to see you. I'm what do you call it when you go through somebody? I'm
you're channeling.
yes, I'm channeling through right now.
Wow.
And Nancy says to say hi, by the way.
When he ran against Pat Brown, and Pat Brown was going for his 3rd term and had been a pretty good governor.
Yeah.
No one said they're going to vote for Reagan. You could not find a person that would say they're going to vote for Reagan, and he just demolished Pat Brown. So there's an element. How many people do you know say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump"? Not many people.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me show you this though. I just came back from being in Maine.
Mhm.
I flew up on Elite, but I drove all the way home, and I took my time doing it. Went through Vermont, went through New York State. Not in all of Maine, all kinds of Trump signs. Not one Hillary sign.
Mm.
Went through Vermont. Not one Hillary sign. Went through New Hampshire. There was one Hillary sign. It was Hillary for prison.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. And then in New York, and even in New York
2016
State,
for
no, I was
president.
down all the way down New York State, going to Pennsylvania because Barbara wanted to do some studying, looking at some cemeteries and stuff. You know her. What do you call that when you study your history? You know.
Oh, her ancestry.
And all we saw were Trump signs everywhere.
I know.
I don't remember seeing one one of her logos out there. Why are people embarrassed? Now this could be the opposite. Are they embarrassed to say they're going to vote for Hillary? But they will. I mean, is the Hillary vote going to be an anti-Trump vote?
I think it's a closer election than people say because people
Don't you
will.
think has he scared you?
Oh yeah,
He scares me.
Oh, he scares me.
I'm
too.
going to vote for him because I think my good sense to say he will be good for business. He puts smart people around him. And don't give me this, oh, he went bankrupt. Walt Disney went bankrupt. Audubon, before he came to America, went to debtor's prison in Europe for 8 years. I was just up to, where was I? Thomas Jefferson's place.
Oh, Monticello.
Yeah, I was in Monticello.
Yeah, he went broke.
Yeah, he was bankrupt before he died.
That's right.
Now, John F. Kennedy, for all you liberal Democrats out there, John F. Kennedy was at the White House. He had a group of Nobel Prize winners. They're sitting at the table to have dinner. He says, never, probably, has a collection of been a greater collection of brilliance and intellect to sit at this table to break bread, except when Thomas Jefferson sat at this table alone.
Yes.
That's quite a compliment. And yet he went bankrupt. Why doesn't I don't understand. If I was running for the presidency right now and I'd gone bankrupt, I would be bringing these things up.
Yeah.
It's like he's, how could he be so much wealthier than me and be so stupid in other ways?
There's so many things that Trump could be saying and doing that would win him the presidency. One of the things is, I think we had so many Republican candidates because everyone knew that it was probably going to be Hillary, and they knew how beatable Hillary is because so many people don't like Hillary. So it was like, hey, we just got to get one decent guy in there and we're going to win this election. And Trump, it's really hard to like Trump. I don't like Trump. He says so many things that are
Mean.
and
I would
and
never say that about, go ahead. By the way, can you turn my mic up? Because everybody coming through my headset sounds louder than me. I'm the host, so I think my voice should be at least equally loud.
he's got a taller chair too.
Okay, so go ahead.
I think that the time for Columbus is over. It's in big trouble. I like a man who is brash and has a certain amount of arrogance. I think my prediction is going to be, I'm election time, but it's going to be a landslide.
Yeah.
There are
I don't know, but
are very disenchanted.
yeah, but I thought that about what's his name there, Romney.
Romney.
I didn't think that at all.
Oh, I thought Romney would sweep this.
I think there's a kind of serious movement that is going to push Trump. So I just do.
All
Well,
right, well, I got to take a break.
all right.
We'll come back and talk more, right? And who are we talking with?
Pastor Richard Demsick,
From?
923 Community, right
Yeah.
next to the bowling alley.
See, you need to be a little more assertive and say, come and visit us. at
Come, yeah,
10:30.
definitely. Check us out 10:30 on
You
Sundays.
can go to the
We'd love to have
conservative.
you.
The conservative. Do you call it a mass there? What do you call it?
Yeah, we have a traditional service at 8 o'clock, a blended service with music. Brady Johnson, who is an amazing
At 10
choir director,
o'clock.
plays at 10 o'clock.
But those are conservative.
And those are traditional.
Yeah, traditional.
Or classical, as Brady likes to call it. And then we've got the modern misfits, the
Yeah.
people that,
The tattoo people and people like me that go to the 10:30.
yeah, if you want to see Rhett at the 10:30 service
Yeah.
on Sunday morning.
But yeah, if you want to go into the rooms of non-judgment. come
We have a
on,
lot of
see us
fun.
on the- Yeah. Okay. And we also have, of course,
Stanford Erickson, a good friend of Rhett, and you're so kind to us in terms of just helping. Like this morning, you helped the Indian River College. So kind of you to do that because they do so much good.
thank goodness they're here.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, and then educate. I've gone to some of their programs, and the adults that attend that are just as brilliant as the teachers. So it's really fun.
Today's broadcast brought to you by Dr. Tim Ioannidis, Treasure Coast Dermatology. Get a full body scan every year, at least once. It could save your life. The sunshine here, it's pernicious, folks. Skin cancer can kill you. It's not just, well, we'll just go and get that frozen off. If you get there too late, they can't freeze deep enough. And I've heard of people dying. So get a full body scan. See Dr. Tim Ioannidis, Treasure Coast Dermatology. Would you tell him when you see Dr. Tim that you heard about him on my show? I'd appreciate that. And of course, for your eyes, there's Center for Advanced Eye Care, Dr. Mal, Dr. Snell, Dr. Katz, Dr. Kadadade, Dr. Brannigan. Okay? Center for Advanced Eye Care. They're exceptionally gifted eye doctors. We'll be back. And does my voice, I think my voice isn't loud enough in there.
No, it all sounds same to me.
I tend to agree with
Sean.
Sean. I was going to say Shane, but Sean, because
It's, yeah,
and because I saw no one was going to vote for Reagan. They said this dumb, stupid actor, and it was a landslide. And I think there's the same something is happening. I prayed about this, and as I was praying, I felt God say, "Don't look a gift horse in the mouth."
Mm.
And Trump is our gift horse.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you think about it,
He's got a lot of rotten teeth, but let's not look at that.
he's our gift horse. No, but God loves to talk in metaphors.
Yeah.
The reason he talks in metaphors is because as you visualize something, it stays with you.
Yeah.
That's why he does when you cross the Jordan, you have the stones, the 12 stones.
No, I agree. He paints a picture, is what I go.
He made us so he understands how it registers with us.
Yeah.
And so when he talks to me, and he doesn't talk to me often, I wish he did, but maybe 77 years, maybe I felt him talk to me about 10 times. 77 years. You think, and I'm seeking
30
all the
seconds.
time,
Sure.
you know, but Satan is much more assiduous.
Much more talkative too.
Much more talkative.
Yeah.
Come in so I can kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Further towards the kill zone, please.
Yeah, further towards,
Yeah, exactly.
because I started in the occult, so I understand that.
Yeah.
Satan was much more attentive to me, much more considerate.
God paid attention. He just
Here we
works
go, 5
differently.
seconds.
Well, he's selective in who he talks to whom he talks, and when and why.
Hey, we're back. This is the mayor of the area. How you doing this morning? The Press Journal today says VP debate candidates come out swinging. Well, I have to say this: Senator Tim Kaine came out swinging, but Governor Mike Pence showed himself to be a future great leader.
Now, I will say this. Can you really market that much against Kaine when it was similar to the Trump way of debating?
No, if you notice, Trump is not. Well, he can be interruptive.
Well, but
Interrupted.
he's a counterpuncher. He'll say this: "I'm a counterpuncher."
Yeah.
So unless you attack him, he rarely goes at you. But when you attack him, he believes you have to.
And Pence was not attacking anybody.
No,
They're
no,
talking-
Pence was not.
And this guy kept interrupting. I mean, even when you had the liberal far left commentators really saying it was inappropriate the way Kaine was a little dog
Well,
barking, nipping at the heels of
The reason it didn't work is because I don't think Senator Kaine, that's his nature. And I think he was told by the
this guy was a governor too of Virginia. Now
Yes, he was.
Pence has left his state $2 million in profit, whereas this other guy's left his state
$2
Virginia
billion.
$2 billion in negative.
That's
This
right.
guy Kaine.
Yes.
So now, and I look at Kaine, I go, well, you can tell he's an emotional guy. And like my grandfather in New York used to say, my heart is with the Democrats, but my pocketbook is with the Republicans. We've been allowing our hearts to lead us. If the American public once again follows their heart and we get the same old for another 4, 8 years, oh my God, it's going to destroy us. We need a balance.
Well, Senator Kaine, when they asked him, well, what is Hillary and your program to turn around the country? They said, spend money on this, invest. They don't say spend. They say, invest in this, invest in this, invest in this, invest in this, and that'll turn around the country. No, that's spending money.
Yeah.
That doesn't turn around the country. And if you look at what,
But if you've worked only for the government your entire life,
yes,
you know,
Which
what I
he
mean?
has.
Did you see the relaxed manner that people that are working for the government have?
Yeah.
For instance, the young lady was in here today, working, it's secure. Those of us who are in private sector, there's always an edge. And maybe there's a positive side to that edge, but I've always got to worry about paying the rent, paying the electricity, getting this, but we need new equipment, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, it takes an enormous amount of money. Whereas if I'm working for the government, remember my old story? I know people that are listening go, oh no, he's not going to tell that story about the Baseball Hall of Fame again. Yes, I am, Cooperstown. I go up there, I park my RV illegally, and I go in to see the clerk of the court, and she has all this beautiful furniture. We became friendly. I paid this. I said, I did wrong. I'll pay the bill. But her and I are laughing, having a good time. I said, where'd you get this furniture? Well, last year I bought all computers, but they said the $100,000 that I'm allotted every year, I'll lose it if I don't spend it. So I bought all this furniture.
Yeah.
What? She had to spend the $100,000 or she wouldn't be allotted the same money next year. We got to take a break. We'll be back on the other side of the news.
Perfect.
there are not many ministers that aren't left of center. Almost all the ministers I know are left of center.
Why? Because why?
Well,
Because they're following their heart.
yes.
Yeah.
It's just like Jerry Lamont is a priest, Catholic priest, and he swayed me because now I read about a whole different thing. I'll go in there. This pedophile did this, and I go in there. Oh, let's tear him asunder. And I used to think the same way. I'll stab him in the heart. And Jerry goes, well, he's got this notion God's going to forgive everybody. That's what a lot of Catholics do. Well, it is true. The kid was abused as a kid, and it goes on and on. So where does all this? Where is their mercy?
empathy is, I think, so important. And when I mean, like, I'll give you an example. So there was an article that said, man rapes child, is what it said. Man rapes child. And I see the picture of one of my youth kids, and I think, one of my youth kids has been raped. And it isn't until I start reading the article that I know who's the rapist. Now, he was 18 years old, and the girl was like 15 years old. Okay?
Now, we're not talking about a little Jewish kid from upstate New York, are we? Because
No.
I had the same situation in
No.
the church I used to go sing at.
This is here in Vero Beach.
God.
And I thought, that headline, like, of course, just people to read, but did such a disservice to that poor child. And he might technically be 18, but he's a kid. And he's a kid that's lived most of his life living from couches to couches. So he's got very little people to rely on. I know that kid. It's like, okay, I don't condone him having sex at all, and with anyone, especially with younger girls. I get that. But it was consensual sex. And he,
When I was 21, I slept with a little 16-year-old. Now, that doesn't sound like much now, does it? Now I'd go to jail.
you go
I'd be what do you call
a
it?
registered sex offender
Forever.
forever. It'd still be to this day.
Well, now they have the Romeo law.
No,
come on, forever women are in a perfect, what?
First of all, the Romeo law it's not a law. It's something that the judge can decide to implement. Most judges don't. And it's only like 3 years.
And come on, how many law have younger women going out with older men? Are you older than your wife?
Yes.
How many years?
9 years.
5
There
years
you
for
go.
me.
So when you were 20, she was 11. Okay, let's go back to when you were 25. She was 14. There's a natural thing, and it's very good. I'll tell you what, if it didn't work out with Barb and I would always go for a younger woman. I'll tell you why. She was, well, you need 10 younger woman. I'll always agree with you on everything. But it's in a perfect position. First of all, women want to be adored. They want to be loved, adored, and So when you've got a younger girl, you can do that. You take it, and then what is she doing? She looks up to you. They tend to more defer. Well, you're older than me, so you would know. And what do men want? We want to be decision makers, and we want you to defer to us because I'll take a bullet for you, honey. And then the woman loves that because Jesus was willing to die for the church. You're willing to die for her. And a woman knows if you're willing to die for her, she's going to tend to be. Submission is not something you can demand. It's given.
1 minute out.
These jerks.
You think
These biblical jerks who are quoting the Bible wanting to
you
dominate.
think Nancy looks up to me? Come on.
Well, they will also take, just like with kids, they will take as much ground. Look, last night I was
Yes,
with
they
Mark the
will.
hair guy. Mark the guy says, "Look, I'm in control of my house, but don't tell Stacy."
Yeah.
We were laughing.
I get my hair cut from,
Mark,
from Bilbo.
Bilbo.
What a great guy. Great haircut.
I will tell you this: when you go with Bilbo,
20 seconds.
the nice thing about it is it's a half an hour, whatever it is, it's you. And he's got the Italian guy, he's got such a gentle touch. He's there.
He's wonderful.
He's taking care of you. He's got a soft, very pleasant, peaceful way about him.
Yes, he does.
And it's almost like he ministers to, which is part of the thing. What do you think? Women have known this for years.
Here we go.
I'm stressed. I'm going to get my hair done. They know. Women have known for a long time that getting your hair done, it's like, I'm upset. I'm going to get my hair done. It's a gift to themselves. And we were just talking about, for instance, like Mark the hair guy or Bill Burr, when somebody takes the time and they're devoted to you. It's, as men, I don't think it's really been acceptable, homophobic stuff, oh, well, I can't really enjoy this, It took me years before I could get a massage from a guy as well as a female therapist, you know what I'm saying? Like, even to this day, I'll be going, wow, he's really digging that. Oh boy, my muscle, boy, I really worked that last night when I worked out last night. And you go, wait a second, I don't know if I should be enjoying this. This is a guy. No, he's a therapist. Okay, he's a therapist. But I have to think it out, you know what I'm saying? Because of this homophobic thing.
I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same way.
When I first went,
in it.
when I first went to Marks to the Point, I was thinking, gosh, how do they charge so much money for a haircut or whatever? And then I went, and the way they took care of me and like were I mean, I
Or you walk
I
in,
was
you get
there-
if you drink, I don't, but you get a glass of
A
wine.
glass of wine,
yeah,
everything.
chocolates,
oh my gosh.
water, ice water.
I was like, I get it now. I feel like all of a sudden I'm the lord of the universe here.
And you know what? Do you know what? I work hard all day, okay?
Mm.
So at 6 o'clock, I go over to the Tides, White Linen. Now I've worked hard all week.
Mm.
Now I've treated myself to a reservation at the Tides. When I walk in and Claudia, oh, hi, Red, how are you? You're important, Red. We're here. We want you to have a wonderful time. Thank you very much. It's not that I need somebody for my ego. It's like, you work, it's a gift to yourself. We're going to dote on you. And every time when that chef over there and they cook something, it comes out and I go, this has got to taste like the first time he and she made this, there's two of them in there, made this swordfish. Because it comes out so excellent.
Oh, the
and I go,
swordfish is
how
good.
can they do this
Their
night
duck-
after night?
Their duck is great.
It is. But how can they do this night after night after night and keep it so special?
Because they love what they're doing.
Yeah.
They absolutely love what they're doing.
Just like when I come in here and I'm still curious, after 40,000 people at the mic, I still want to go, what are you all about? I'm going to undress you right here. I want to find out like a Christmas package, what's going on inside that heart of yours? And I don't mean undress in a
Life is
bad
a
way. I mean,
box of chocolates.
That's right. You never know.
You
You
never
never know.
know what you're going to get. Have you been to Savannah lately?
Oh, I love Savannah, yes.
I was in Savannah 20 years ago, stayed at a B&B. I did a show from up there. It was okay, and I came home. And I thought about Savannah. I was there when Clint was making the movie Good Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, and John Brent is the writer, and he and I became friendly, and I interviewed him face to face.
I read the book, it's spectacular.
Yeah, it's one classic. First out of the chute, first book and only book, it's a classic. But anyway, so we're up there, and I came home, didn't think much about Savannah. Last year, I went up to Savannah. It's one of the top 16 cities in the world, according to Travel and Leisure. I think it's 16. Anyway, it is wonderful. There's such an air. There's a balmy air. There's the southern gentility and polite manners. And it's got a pace. Even though there's traffic, it seems slow. And by the way, went up to, who's the famous chef? She had a little problem by saying she admitted she used the nigger word once.
Oh, a Dean.
Yeah, Paula Deen.
Paula
Well,
Deen.
when I went in there, first of all, I went in there, the food is spectacular and affordable. And there's a young black male waiting at me and said, what do you think about what went down with, he said, Red. He said, we've been on a first name basis. And he says, 90% of us are black here. If
Yeah.
she was prejudiced, what's going on? She admitted she's used the word nigger.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, I'm sure I used to get mad. I'd do anything. Hey, you stupid farmer. Hey, you stupid black person. Hey, you stupid secretary. Hey, you stupid female. Until you get older, and then you have to say, no, that's wrong.
Mhm.
Don't categorize and finalize people by, what I'm saying.
Have you knew about the thing that happened with the Seinfeld actor Richardson,
yeah.
and how he used the N-word in a bit, and it ruined his career. Nobody wanted to hire him anymore. They did a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode with him coming back because Curb Your Enthusiasm is with Larry David, co-creator of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So they did a Seinfeld reunion season, and it was funny because they had that guy. I think his name's Richardson, but I'm trying to remember. That might be wrong. But anyway, he was having it's a fake show, but they're having a conflict with him and this African-American guy. And he's like, I wish that there was some name that I could call you that would inflict damage on you. And it's just kind of a funny little
Well, I don't
allusion
like
to
I don't like the
the situation. Oh, it's horrible.
But yet you can hear the word nigger is used in all these rap songs and stuff. I don't approve of that either.
Well, it's when I was in the Army, the people would say who were coonasses, they would say, I'm a coonass. But if you said that to them, you were
Well, first of all, no. See,
Because they couldn't
I
refer
don't
to
like
themselves.
that either because that's bad self-talk.
I
My
agree.
friend Ben
But they
Kinslow
say
is
it to
one of
themselves.
he's like a brother. I love him, and he's a man of color. And he said at the beginning of his book that he felt inferior.
Mm.
You don't use that on yourself. That's like me.
I
I don't
agree
like it when I call myself a dummy.
I agree with that.
I remember one time I was up in St. Augustine, and I don't know if I was 18. My brother's older, and he called me. He says, "Come on, dum dum." And my brother was an intellectual, read voluminously, was very smart, and he was also like an Errol Flynn type guy, ran his own sailboat, and it's just all the things I'm not, he was. And he said, "Come on, dum dum." No, he meant it pleasantly. And I remember the depth of the hurt that day that he called me dum dum. And he only meant it like, "Come on, dum dum, let's get going," like that. But I don't know, it just reached inside. I'm talking about it 40 years later. He's dead and gone. And so words have power.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, if I'm black, I don't want to hear nigger. I
Yeah.
don't like that word.
Oh, no,
Whether
it's-
I'm white or black, I don't want you using it on yourself.
Besides that, one of the things that we have to look and realize, if we look at history, there were people that were white that fought in the civil rights movement. There were people that were
Yes.
white that fought in the Civil War, that were fighting specifically to make other men free, which
Yeah.
is a quote from Colonel.
And I would have been running that railroad going
Yeah,
up
Colonel
over
Chamberlain.
Vermont to Canada.
Yeah,
Right.
that's my ancestry. My ancestry has no slavery in it. We have one actually. My only African American ancestry was a slave, and then most of them were Northerners who were fighting to free slaves. So that's my ancestry that I cling to, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. So when someone uses that word, it offends me on that level. It's like, no, we are against racism, we are against slavery, and then people respond, well, you're a white person, so you get to have an opinion.
You don't get to have an opinion.
And I'm like, no, that's not true. My ancestors fought to make African American people free.
Well, you know,
Make it-
Thomas Jefferson, I was just up there, and he had slaves. But he said justice cannot sleep forever. Slavery is like holding a wolf by the ear. Let him go and you may not survive. See, economically, the whole country would have been crushed had they eliminated slavery. He says, justice cannot sleep forever. And if you want to read more about this, read The Art of Power by John Meacham. Okay, it's supposed to be a great, they say it's the
Meacham is an
quintessential
excellent
book.
writer.
The best book on Jefferson. But Emerson also said, when you put a chain around a slave, you put one around your neck as well.
Mhm.
And it's true, you know? But anyway, so, you know, he said there's a generation coming. It is not this generation, but there will be a generation. He abhorred slavery, but there was no way to escape it at that point. There were other things to get done.
Mhm.
And, you know, after hearing the lecture, I halfway agree at that point. Can you imagine? I would do anything to if I was back in that day and age, I'd be hiding people in my trunk and I'd be driving into Canada, man.
It's fascinating to me that when the revisionist history, for instance, the Civil War, people try to make it not about slavery. Oh, it wasn't really about slavery.
Mhm.
And then you look at the letters that were written from the troops. You look at the speeches, word for word, from the troops. I mean, my favorite one is Colonel Chamberlain's, where he was talking about these group of people that were deserters in the Northern Army, and he was telling them why they should fight. And it was specifically to make other men free. That in this country, we're going to judge you for what you do, not who your father was. So it was very clear that it was about slavery for a lot of the troops.
Chamberlain was the hero in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And he accepted, he was in appomattox with Grant and accepted the sword
Yeah,
from Lee. So
Yeah.
he was a very, and he was a professor.
yeah,
He was a professor
Brilliant.
in college.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, you know, I saw Robert yesterday. I was over at TJ Maxx.
I saw this.
I
Yeah,
posted
I
that.
saw this on Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I saw it all of a sudden. I'm coming around. I've just been shopping at Publix, you know, go over there to get water and get some eggs in case things get bad. And these three young black males come literally jumping out, and they each had about 15 bags on each hand.
Now, was it like a
Okay.
happy prance?
Oh yeah,
skit?
Happy Prince. And they're just so they go around here to the left. I thought they ran over by Panera Bread, but as I came around the corner to exit, they're pulling out right by me. So I got the license plate number. I immediately called 911, and the guy looked at me too, like, you know, I mean, and my instinct later on was that, geez, you should have followed them. Right? And I thought, no, they might have had a gun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not a good
need to follow
idea.
them.
I don't think.
You don't need to turn into George Zimmerman.
So anyway, and I called 911.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, AOK 37, whatever it was, B, AOK 317. Before I said anything, I didn't even say hi. I said, AOK 371B, AOK 3170, AOK 30. She said, sir, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And And I said, that's the license plate. I said, well, could you repeat that? I said, I gave it to you 4 times. I said, I don't remember now. I'm 62. That's why I did that. Duh. I said,
Don't they record those?
So she got irritable with me. Well, I was told they do record it. But it was like, that's not the first encounter I've had that's not the greatest with 911.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go in there and you take the tour and everybody's nice and they're all sitting there and there's nothing going down, boom, man, get with it. A little
I know.
sharpness is what's necessary. Lives are at stake.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still upset that when Barbara fell, when she had that Ambien and broke her leg, she's laying there unconscious. I called the fire department, and you know what? They showed up 10 minutes late, and the local firefighters was like, Red Palmer's at Jack. I'm going, what? Where the hell have you been? They said, we just got the call 30 seconds ago. I said, I called there. It was about 20 minutes we waited.
Yeah.
She would have been dead. And you can die from a broken leg, by the way. Now. It's very dangerous. So anyway, I mean, somebody needs this. Somebody, I love everybody. So don't give me this crap. But you know what? We got to call the task. When this has happened to me at least 5 times, it's kind of like, hello, there's been an accident. Well, where are you? I just said that I'm a TJ Maxx. Okay. Oh, where? A TJ Maxx. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I expect, when I get in here and I do my show, it's all about my listeners and then my sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never thinking about the money, and I ain't thinking about me. I want to say it. I want to inform people, but I want to do it in an entertaining way, even if it's outlandish, a little outrageous,
Sure.
whatever. But it's all about the listener.
What's the difference, though?
When you're answering the phone for 911, when that phone rings, baby, you should be on. And if you can't be on, then get out.
What's the difference between you and this radio show and that person?
Lives are at stake.
Well, okay, but another one is,
What are you saying? You're looking for something.
you own this radio station. This is your job.
Yeah.
She's just, putting in the time. Or he.
Yeah, but you shouldn't do that. If you don't have a love for what you
I
do
agree.
with passion,
I agree.
then
Well,
that's
and I
not
think
right.
if you really want to succeed in whatever job you have, act like you own that place and and your employer will love you forever if you act like you have a stake in this.
I
Is
gotta
partly
tell you, there was
yours.
a kid. I was in Albany, New York on this vacation. I took visiting my friend Howie Shiv. Used to be the front man for the original Cuomo. Great guy, very liberal, but a great guy. We're good friends. I love him and his wife and 3 children. But we went into a diner in Albany, New York, and I'm coming out and talking about that. But this is the diners are diners. People don't understand. But up north, you got into a good diner run by the Greeks. You got a diner going.
Oh, well, the menu's
so-
fantastic.
I mean, fresh carved turkey and dressing and affordable, $10.99 for a whole dinner with stuffing and everything. So I'm leaving and I tell this young kid, I said, this was fabulous. I said, blah, 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 blah. Well, it turns out he's just working for the man. I said, your enthusiasm is, I said, I would give it, and have him as an employee. This guy, I mean, he should be given a portion of the company. And, but is it always rewarded, that enthusiasm?
Well, it often is. It often is. I mean,
But you can't make it up.
You're a
Remember
business
Tommy
owner.
Lasorda?
you're a business owner. If you have someone who has that attitude, don't you think you reward them?
Oh, I
Or you
love
reward them for that?
in 23 years of being on the air, I've had multiple young people come up to me. I want to be in the radio business.
Mhm.
And I always say, well, come on in. How about next Monday? You come on
You've
in.
done that many times.
And you know what? 1 out of 100 shows up. They're full of donkey dust.
Yeah.
And now years later, you're working that job that you don't like and you wonder how, and you go, you said you wanted to be in radio. Oh, I'm still dreaming of that. Well, I offered you the opportunity.
Yeah.
Most people don't.
Slothfulness.
Most people don't. You're very unique that way.
They don't want.
Most people, once they're relatively successful,
Yeah.
they're so protective of what they are. They don't
Well,
cast the bread upon the water.
Well, yeah, but I understand people come in here with books and go, break away. I'd like to break away. I've been doing radio 23 years. I gotta pay my mortgage. I'd love to go to Hollywood. I was thinking that, before I die, I'd really like to have a role in a motion picture. I can't go out to Hollywood and start auditioning. And even now as a balding old fat guy, I could probably get more jobs as being a character actor.
Mm.
And probably, and also there's something that happens when you're older too. when you're younger, there's all this competition. And a young, name somebody really famous, Dustin Hoffman. If I met Dustin Hoffman now, I say, hey, I want to be, okay, Rand, come on, I'll give you a little role. Because the competition thing disappears after 60. And frankly, so many of us are dead. I mean, I was sitting in a meeting last night, and I counted. I need my boat worked on. And my friend drank himself to death, 9 months ago, whatever it is now. I don't have Chris anymore to call and say, hey, would you help me with my boat? And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, wow, I've seen 4 people I've lost over the past year. Who died. The Sheriff Lohr told me every 13 days we lose someone in Indian River County to an overdose. Little Indian River County. Wow. Self-murder. Cold suicide. Who would think?
Yeah, it's rough.
Gotta take a break. We'll be back. This is the Mayor of the Airwaves. Today's broadcast brought to you by Dr. Mallon. Dr. Schnell, Dr. Katz, Dr. Kadadade, Dr. Brannigan. Who am I talking about? Center for Advanced Eye Care. If I will send my friends and family there, I vetted them out. And you can trust me on this. Yes, I
met Dr. Mallon, fantastic, brilliant man.
Brilliant surgeon. So Dr. Mallon, Dr. Schnell, Dr. Katz, Dr. Kadadade, Dr. Brannigan, Center for Advanced Eye Care on US 1 just south of 37.
I should have said something about Road to Recovery. I thought about that afterwards when you were talking about the people that have died from addiction.
Road to Recovery?
Yeah, on Wednesday nights that we do.
Hey, did I ever sing you this song that I wrote?
You coming back in with music?
I saw you making bombs in the basement today. Who are you planning to blow away? It seems like it's a short fuse you got. You're either in recovery or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not. Your lifeboat has begun to rock. You're either in recovery or you're not. Or you're not. Or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not. You were going to meetings every day. You had yourself a sponsor, you were on your way. But you tied it all up in a slip knot. You're either in recovery or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not. Your lifeboat has begun to rock. You're either in recovery or you're not. I saw you throwing pebbles into the sea, trying to escape your hostility. You can throw pebbles till you're old as a rock. You're either in recovery or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not. Your lifeboat has begun to rock. You're either in recovery or you're not. Or you're not. Or you're not. You're either in recovery or you're not.
Nice. I like that.
Catchy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I got a whole bunch of verses written though.
1 minute.
I can just, if I'm ever going to record, it's got to be in front of a live audience of AA people, and they've got to already know it and they can sing it with me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get your book done.
Hey, you ought to let him write, see what he thinks.
If you give me your email,
Okay.
is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send it.
We'll see what he thinks. Yeah, this is amazing. This guy, you got to come to his church. I want you to come with me some Sunday because all of a sudden there's people from the rooms in there. Why is he? And he seems to get it. Now I don't know how that'll happen. And it's almost like if you build it, they will come. For some reason, he's got, and the reason he's only 30, but the reason he has
When we
accelerated.
come back, we'll have about 4.5 minutes.
The only reason he has accelerated growth is because he
Here we go.
had devastating migraines for years, disenabled him. God, Billy Graham says no one gets a call from God as they get the death blow. Billy Graham said no one gets a call from God unless they get the death blow. It does seem like we only grow in the valleys, right?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely where character is created.
But what I want to know is, I was reading Steve McCullough, David McCullough's book last night, 1976, and he talks about the king back then. Who was the king of? He was the king of the United States until
Yes,
the
George
king of
III.
America. George,
III.
and how he went by in his carriage, and they had all these guys and the dancers and the horn players, and they had all the guys that are there, the pomp and circumstance that, of course, they love in English. And they said,
I think of a Latin.
and they have a little, he was reading a newspaper that said, and the man said, he had the whitest hands I've ever seen. Because back then, if you were, first of all, if you were nobility, you had pure white skin. But this was to the detriment. Do you know they used to put this on their faces and on their hands to make them look white because you weren't out in the sun. See, if you had a suntan, then you were working class.
Yes.
If you were white, you spent a lot of time inside reading and feeding your head and your character, hopefully. And but they started putting this white stuff on their skin, and it had a poison in it. What's the thing that had in it? They ended up killing a bunch of
wow.
royalty.
Ironic.
Do you remember that? Did you
No,
hear about that?
I had not heard that.
I forget what the poison was.
But I was I worked in London, and most of the British journalists that I worked with were Marxists, were communists, were socialists. I mean, almost all of them, brilliant people. And
brilliant people idolize their intellect.
yes, and I was walking down the street with one of the women, and she was being critical of the monarchy, and all of a sudden they said, "Oh, the mother of the Queen, Mary, is there." She stopped what she was doing. She was opposed to the monarchy. She's a socialist. She's a Marxist, and she starts running to see the mother, and lay there and said, "I'm just waiting." And she came back. She said, "Well, why didn't you come?" And I said, "I'm not interested in the monarchy."
Yeah.
But she was. I mean, it's
what I want to
the
know?
British are unique people.
I've not been in the Oval Office, and I have been privy to some very important. I met with all the Bushes. I met with President Carter. I met with President Ford. So there's half of me that never wants to be in that Oval Office. You know why? Because I really, if I met Obama today, I said, "What is it like when you're sitting on that toilet outside the Oval Office, and you know, you're just a man." Who is the great emperor when he won all these accolades or whatever, and he hired a man to be behind him, and behind him to say, when all the whole crowd, was it Rome? I forget where it was.
It was in
and he
Rome.
said, "You're just a man.
Yes.
You're just a man."
He
hired a slave to say that behind him. You're just a man.
Every time there was a triumph, when you won a battle and you were to be honored, you were in a chariot, you went before the crowds, but they always had someone in the chariot and back to say, "Remember, you're just a man, just a man." So
what is it like now? Because all of a sudden I was the president. I'd be scared out of my mind.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm limited.
I think that's one of the wisest thing that a leader has to have is humility and an understanding of their limitations. Yeah. You can't get it done on your own intelligence and power.
So now this is what I think about Trump. I think he will put great people around him. Look at what he did with Pence. How did he pick Pence? I never even heard of Pence. The first time I saw him, I thought, I don't think I like this guy. And I love this guy now.
Pence opposed him. Pence was not for him. And when he was campaigning in Indiana, Pence opposed him.
Why would it? Yeah.
What a wonderful that he selected someone that opposed him to be his vice president.
Because you know why? A wise man liketh counsel. And it's just like with me. I get somebody. I like having extreme liberals in here because I might learn something. You take the proverbial spring, you stretch it out, never goes all the way back, and that's what we can't keep staying locked and paralyzed and polarized as a people. We've got to listen to each other.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about
we,
starting
the people.
Conversations.
I've had world-class economists in here, and they said this country only works when we have a balance. We need a balance. And speaking of a balance, you got to have a balance of radio show, and you got to have a balance of ads, and you got to have a balance of news. So we're going to go into the news, and we'll see you on the other side of the news. Who loves you, baby?
You're going to do to.
Are we going to do 10:30?
10:30?
What day of the week is it?
Wednesday.
Okay, so we can go to 10:30 if we want. You guys want to stick around for another half an hour?
We can stick around.
Okay. 10:30. What I would like to do on Pence, if we could, when he ended his talk, and they talked about the pro-life. Did you listen to the end when he spoke on pro-life, Pence?
No, I left last night at 9:30 to go work.
It was so wonderful. He
just called to call me.
Hey there.
Hey, you said call you ASAP. What's up? I wish we could. I can't get it started.
I just need the keys, I'll get it started for you.
Oh. Okay, we'll have to call AAA. Could you call AAA for me? Because I'm gonna do another half an hour live here. 95 Royal Palm Point, and I'll just wait here. And if you call now, they'll probably come about 10:30, which will be perfect.
They need the membership number. Does she have that? Okay.
But I don't think we'll be able to get started.
What? That
Yeah. Let me call my-
young lady?
Call Mike
I'm not
Gould.
sure what you said.
Call Mike Gould.
Calling Mike Gould. Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 772-696-0229 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you finish recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Mike, it's Rhett. How are you?
So it's there is a T in your name. It's Stanford, right?
Yeah, STA.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
That was named after the university.
Yeah.
If you give me your email,
Oh yeah.
and I'll send that to you.
You come with me to church some Sunday, right?
I'm in the choir, so I'm a
That makes it
tenor,
tough.
and they don't have many tenors.
Sure.
If you're a
Oh,
tenor,
stop
What-
it,
what
stop
church?
it, stop it.
First Presbyterian.
Okay. Yeah, with Tim,
Yes.
Pastor Tim.
And Dr. Tim's wonderful, but
Yeah.
he doesn't, only talks about love. He forgets justice once in a while.
Yeah.
And
Hey, Siri.
like most.
Hey, Siri.
He's very left of center, though he doesn't bring that up, but you just.
Sure.
You just don't.
Hey, Siri.
I call myself a bleeding
Call
heart
Dan
conservative.
Soroka.
What?
A bleeding heart conservative.
Which phone number for BNI?
That's.
Calling
I would-
BNI
I would
Dan
be very
Soroka.
conservative.
iPhone.
Yeah. I think that the most important thing that we could do as people is help other people. With that said, I think that the Democrat solutions to helping people don't work. And I think that the conservative, if done right, and I won't say all conservatives, but have better ideas about helping people.
Oh, well.
You know what's nice about you? You always answer the phone in today's world. Here you are, a busy guy. You're in the roofing business. You just amaze me. I have a little emergency. I have an antique car. I can't get it started, and I need it to be protected. And I have a friend who has a warehouse where I can store it, but I can't get it going. That lady, I took her card yesterday, and I can't find it. The lady that's in our BNI group who does work on automobiles and stuff. Yeah, Linda. Yeah. Do you have her phone number? Would you mind? Could you text it to me? Okay. How are you doing? I heard you on the roof yesterday. Your people were on the roof yesterday. I heard somebody clomping around. How are we doing? Barbara wants me to take my computer home because she's afraid something could happen here. How safe is that roof? And would you see? We have also electronic equipment in here that's worth $100,000 or something. What do you think? How safe are we here? Just between you and I. I mean, I'm not asking this. Yeah.
Are you leaving?
Hmm?
Are you leaving? Tom?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said that. Honestly, my wife and I are leaving, but not because we're worried about the storm. It's just because we realized we've got a rare chance to take a vacation.
Because Palm Coast, they put in this window here,
Close down the
and I know
church.
that they owed me like about $4,000, and so they did this trade. They put in this big window in my studio here, and that's Miami-Dade and everything.
Go
That sucker
take a
is
trip
thick,
and have some fun,
Oh yeah, there we go.
and then get back and fix the house.
You don't have insurance? Oh yeah, I used to own a house over there. I wonder if you own my old house. Anyway, so could you text her number to me? Okay, I'll try to call her now, because I kind of got to move quickly. They only will have the warehouse open until noon. I got to get it over there before noon. Now, I am a member of AAA, but I think, okay, thank you. This guy, I can't wait till he starts advertising me, because every time I call him, he answers.
It's wonderful.
But he knows that's business for him.
Sure.
But he's so nice. By the way, do you like chicken wings?
Chicken wings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've discovered something in this town. There's a place called Nick's over on 60. It looks like a little dump. Well, recently when I was there, I took the picture for the cover over near the, what's that place where people, the courthouse.
Yes.
Somebody brought me over there, a guy running for judgeship. And now I go.
30 seconds.
I went there with Dan Soroka, that's what I'm thinking. It's, they have the best chicken wings I think I've ever had. They're exceptional. You want to come sometime?
Are they spicy?
Where?
To Nick's, the chicken wing place.
Spicy or no?
They have all different tasters. Yeah, like 4 or 5 different. But you know what? That restaurant and the hamburgers are good there too. It's hard to find a good hamburger.
Here we go.
Well, it is. It's a Greek thing. Why the Greeks are so.
I can explain that a little bit. Why?
They're good. Richard,
You're gonna give me the
King
email?
Richard.
Didn't I not? Did I?
Oh,
Did I give him my card?
oh, yeah.
This is the mayor. How are you? I hope you've got everything fixed up. I need somebody who's good with boats, because I used to have a neighbor he was a member of the Power Squadron. I don't know if there's anybody listening who knows someone or is in the Power Squadron. Mr. Red here needs your help, because I don't know how to tie up that. It's in the water. I don't have a lift. I don't believe in lifts, because lifts, if you have a lift, you never use your boat, because you're going to go down and press the button. But so my boat is in the water. Yeah.
I actually have 100.
You have what? I can't hear you.
I actually.
And I can't hear me. Oh, I know what it is. I unplugged my headset. That's
Rhett
my
has
fault.
gone unplugged.
Yes, hold on a second. Let me-
The raw edit.
Oh, I can't, ladies and gentlemen, I can't hear him because he's behind glass. Hold on a second. Okay. So do you know how to tie? Can you help me tie up my boat? I got my guy. Look at that. I knew if I mentioned it over the air.
Done. That was a
See that? It pays to advertise on the Red Palmer Show.
He can do just about everything, right?
There you go.
He simply amazes me. Don't.
Simply the best.
Don't.
Better
The
than
guy we want to
all the
raise,
rest.
watch out. We'll be in trouble here. We'll be,
Hey, all ships rise with the tide. That's what they say.
Okay, so
Maybe with our little raise.
Matthew is coming full of a lot of hot air. Matthew is coming. Hey, child, you better be beware. Gonna blow out your windows and blow out your door. You better get moving, get out of town if you live by the shore. So anyway, in the Carolinas, they are all egressing.
South Carolina,
I mean, can you see the massive lineups of cars?
yes. If you go by any gas station, you see cars. Here, I couldn't believe it.
It's amazing. I mean, people are driving differently because of the storm. I don't know if you noticed it. People drive way faster. I don't know where they're going, but they're driving.
They're scared.
They're just in a panic mode.
Yeah, the panic.
It was funny because I was doing actually my gospel minute where I do a minute gospel of the day. Then I put on Facebook. If you want to check it out, Richard Demsick on Facebook. Just search DEMSICK. All Demsicks are part of my family on Facebook, just so you know. But I was recording the thing, and I was talking about the pandemic panicked mindset that we get in sometimes. And as I was doing it, you can't hear it in the video, but all of a sudden this ambulance sirens started going through my neighborhood because people are getting in accidents, driving over bumps in the middle of the road, Rosemary. Anyway, people are backed up at the gas station, the grocery stores running out of water. It's crazy. And
Well, yesterday we had alternate. The Publix is still open, and by the way, you can pick up the newest issue of Hero's Voice, the upscale magazine of choice at all the Publix locations. Get your free copy today. Anyway, so I was in Publix yesterday, and of course I noticed that I was buying some. I bought some Snickers, and I bought some Hershey's little droplets. I'm not supposed to be buying this stuff, you know.
Mhm.
And I bought some, I don't know, Twix, whatever I bought, and I realized that I had comfort food. I bought myself some fresh hamburger because I like making a homemade hamburger with lots of onion. I bought an onion. But anyway, so I get out there and I said, I wonder if to the gal who was checking me, I said, does the sale of comfort food go up? And she said, yeah. Yeah, everybody's driving, walking out with, comfort food.
Yeah. It's never okay to live in fear. It's never wise. It's never helpful to live in fear.
How many times in the Bible, Mr. Priestman here,
Yeah.
does it say, fear not?
That's right.
It's 160 something?
I don't know the exact number,
Or
but
is it
it's a large amount.
360?
It's pretty
I think
much
it's 360.
every time an angel appears from
Okay.
the Lord, it's fear not. And one of the things that it says, I think in Proverbs, is
Fear
who
not.
can add one day of their life by worry? You can't. So even if your fear has rationality, because that's what we do, we defend the rationality of our fear to excuse having it. Even if the fear is justified, if we're not doing anything about it, we're not fixing the fear.
God
it's
has not given
helpful.
me a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind.
That's right.
And you can quote it. If Jesus could quote it to the devil, you can quote it. It is written. It is written. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. It is written. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. You tuned into Reverend Red here, folks. We're talking about the Bible this morning. We got, how you doing there?
Stanford Erickson.
Stanford Erickson, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. And I can talk on that point.
Mm.
It says perfect love cast out fear.
Amen.
Yeah.
Perfect love. Now,
Perfect.
I used to give talks in New York in terms of religion.
Did
And-
you?
Yes, and everyone thinks I need perfect love. That's not what it's saying. The only one that has perfect love was Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
So it's Jesus Christ cast out fear.
That's
So
right.
if you are a believer in Jesus Christ, you should not have fear. Now, I also said this, and there are a lot of ministers who are very upset with me. I said, if an angel came, or God came, or Jesus came, and I saw him in a vision, they would not have to say, fear not. Because I don't fear. I don't fear God. Why should I fear
Well, I
God?
think I'd be trembling if an angel. I mean, go, oh
I
yeah,
don't-
respectful of fear.
That's what they said. Said, you don't have humility. No. I see God as my Father who loves me. I'm not afraid of my Father that loves me.
I would like to concur with this. I used to always. Do you ever read the book of Revelation?
Oh, about 50
Oh,
times.
Okay, so all those weird beings and characters.
Yes.
I gotta confess, they always scared the crap out of me.
Mm.
I'm going, oh, blah, 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 what are these weird guys? It's like spooky. So one time I was at Buddy Tipton's church. We were praying. Barbara had cancer. Went there to the little healing thing they have on Sunday nights at Buddy Tipton's church. What's it called? What's it called?
Central Assembly.
Central Assembly.
One
So anyway,
church.
I'm up there and I think I was either praying with somebody or kneeling at the altar. And it's like an instantaneous healing. It's like God said, those creatures are my creatures. So because I love you, you don't have to worry about those. They're mine.
Absolutely.
And ever since then, the fear is gone. Did you know this? I hope Linda Teets doesn't mind me telling her story. Linda Teets is they come from a wealthy family. They made a lot of money in their lifetime, but she spends all her time when she's in town giving to local charities and special events. And this is all this lady does. I love her. So she's the one person that shows up when my mom
No, that's awesome.
dies.
Really?
So yeah, she's the one person that showed up at the studio when my mom died. Now other people came forward. I'm sure I must have gotten flowers, but she drove all the way to that little studio we used to have in St. Lucie County.
Mm.
I came out. She's there waiting for me in the parking lot. And if I thought about it, I could start crying now.
Mm.
So she's waiting there for me, okay? And we talked, and so she had a gift for me. I think it was Neiman Marcus. Women will know that. I believe that's very upscale.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure whatever she gave me, I think it held a candle, probably very expensive. But that's not the gift she gave me that day. the gift she gave me was, I said, Linda, I just don't know. My mom's going, and the death is so final and blah, blah, blah. And she says, well, I was afraid to die. I was afraid to die until I was 17. I was dreadfully afraid to die. She says, I was at an ecumenical camp. And in that ecumenical camp, she said she was outside. People were playing and having fun. And she said, suddenly she went deaf. And a voice filled her and said, Linda, you are not afraid to die. Now, if you are an evangelical Christian, how I validate this is God would, see, you would think that if you're going to make up a story, you'd say, don't be afraid to die. That's not what he said. He said, Linda, you are not afraid to die. God spoke the world into existence. So he spoke that into her. Now, suddenly, her deafness came off. She could hear again. And she said, I've never feared death since.
Yes.
Now, we're out in that parking lot, and here I am facing, my mom and I were tight. My father was killed when I was young, blah, blah, blah. We were very, very tight, and she always encouraged me and believed in me, and I just love everlasting. We had a great loving family. And so, she's gone, and she told me that. And what a great gift that, because here I was filled with fear on this day. But God spoke to her and said, Linda, you are not afraid to die. I wish you'd speak to me about that.
But if you really seek and want the love of God, why would you ever be afraid? See,
Well, because people make him out to be a monster. Like if they had a dad that was a monster.
That they fear God is because they're thinking about themselves.
Explain.
If something comes and you're thinking about yourself, and this is very powerful, you can be fearful. But if you're thinking about God, why would you be fearful? So when you think about yourself, that's when you're fearful. But when you think about, Mary.
Self-centered fear.
Yes.
Have you heard that
It's
term?
self-centered fear.
There's a reason that we often say in fear and awe or something. We have fear and awe because fear and awe are really the same thing. They're just different sides of the same coin.
It depends on the Hebrew word that you're talking about.
That's right.
Fear.
Yeah.
But-
So when they say that fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, I think what it's really saying is awe of God. It's being aware of his awesome power. And when you're standing opposed to something that has awesome power, it's a very scary thing. If you're standing behind something that has awesome power and it's on your side, it's a very exciting thing. And that's what standing behind God is like, or standing in the army of God is. This is awesome.
There's
Full of awe.
once you really get into that God loves you, like a father.
Yeah.
Why would you be fearful of God ever? The wonderful thing about having a Messiah, and I love the Jewish people. My wife's Jewish, but not having a Messiah, there's great fear.
I'll tell you why. No, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Remember when they were transporting, when Moses brought these tablets down, they got crushed and they put them in a box. And what's that called? The Ark of the Covenant?
Ark of the Covenant.
Ark of the Covenant? Yeah. Okay, be here now.
I'm here.
All right.
It's what
The
Indiana
Ark of the
Jones
Covenant.
found in the original
you and movies. But anyway, in the Bible it says one guy touched the Ark. You're not supposed. That's why they have the. Yeah. So.
That's when David was bringing it, and someone.
Well,
and he was trying to help. It was.
How about Ananias and Sapphira? They lied about the money they were going to give to the cause, and they were struck down dead.
Absolutely.
So you wonder why I'm afraid of God?
Yeah, and there is an element of that. I mean, my dad, I never worried about him intentionally hurting me, or, he wasn't an abusive father. He was a wonderful father. He was also a national champion wrestler. And,
He needed that with you boys.
Yeah, he did. And I wrestled against my
father.
dad in like an actual wrestling practice situation, and I knew that my dad could destroy me if he wanted to.
Sure.
That was, in some ways, you could describe that as a fear. I always feared him in that respect way. But I also knew he was on my side. And that was amazing for me. So the power of God, the fact that he's so in, all of these stories about how incredibly powerful he is, there's an element of fear you could say to it, but I like the term awe better. I think it gives us this awe respect.
It's the holiness and righteousness of God is the awe. And we are not holy, we are not righteous. And it's like Isaiah said when he saw God, he said, I'm a sinful person. And he was frightened. And the angel came and took a pair of tongs, and put it on his lips. And he said, you are forgiven now. We are forgiven.
Yeah.
So there is no need to fear. Fear is a way of controlling people. Fear is a way of controlling people.
Well, like last night, that vice presidential guy was trying to put the fear.
He was absolutely trying to control and fear. I have no fear of God whatsoever.
I'm talking about the guy on the Democratic side.
Because God is in control of me. That doesn't mean I'm not sinful. God is in control of me, so I have absolutely no fear. God is in control of me, and I know he does what's best for me.
Earlier we were talking about, oh great.
Hurricane is now on track to hit Florida direct.
Wow.
Well, talking about the fear of God, with the
I rented rooms yesterday in Orlando, and I rented rooms over on the other side.
Yeah.
I canceled the ones on the other side, and I'm wondering if I'm going to regret that. We may just stay behind,
Well, we are, but we have hurricane windows, wonderful drainage area.
If I go, I have someone that's going to be staying at my house.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, and one of the things we have to do in this time period is just trust God, because there's the Serenity Prayer. I'm sure you've heard of before, the Serenity Prayer. I don't know if you know the whole thing.
What is it? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
The wisdom to know the difference. Yeah, and it goes on. The full length actually goes on to accepting one day at a time, living each one moment at a time. Accepting hardship as the pathway to peace. This is one that you should.
The valley.
Yeah.
There's the valley.
Hardship is the pathway to peace, and accepting the world as Jesus did, as it is, not as I would have it be. And then I'm getting the order wrong a little bit, but anyway, the point is that beginning of the Serenity Prayer that a lot of people have memorized is a great discernment for when worry is good, when fear is good. When it's something that should be changed, we can worry about it, and it'd be a healthy thing for us.
A fox ran across the road when I was traveling up in Pennsylvania last week, and he darted quick. Well, he had fear, and it saved his life.
Yeah.
So fear is not always a bad thing. Right?
Fear is not a bad thing. It's a healthy thing. In fact, it's good for our bodies when it's a short thing.
It's a quick thing. We're built physically to have that.
Okay, listen,
but I'm talking spiritually, and I don't think you need fear.
I tell you what I'm going to do now for the benefit of people. I'm going to start videotaping a segment right now. Let's talk about fear. There are people that are shaking in their boots right now.
Yeah.
Just hold on a second. Okay, you're tuned into Rhett Palmer here on Facebook, and we're talking about fear. This is my friend Stanford Erickson. He's an author, former White House correspondent. We also have my local pastor, and his name is?
Pastor Richard Demsick from 923 Community.
Okay, it's written, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. Okay, you also came up with a quote a few minutes ago. What was that?
Perfect love casts out fear.
Now, there are people that are trembling in their boots about this hurricane coming.
Yeah.
How can we console the people that are out there listening to this live broadcast or listening to this video, watching this video on multiple Facebook sites?
I think that we can spread fear to other people, and then we become in this pandemic of fear where we're spreading this anxiety and fear, and then we don't even realize how much we're escalating the fear to an irrational level.
So what can you say to somebody who's watching this right now? They're home alone and they're shaking in their boots and they're really scared.
Yes, to spread hope and trust, and remember, like it says in Serenity Prayer, to accept the things I cannot change. We look at the things that we can change. This is the best way to handle fear, is that Serenity Prayer. Because the things that should be changed and can change, we go and we change them. But then the things that can't be changed. So that means, some people say, don't be afraid, just God's got you. And then they don't actually do the steps to prepare for whatever is coming. Instead, this says, do the steps to prepare. And then with all the things that you cannot change, which is many things, especially in a hurricane, you just give them to God. And that's what I think is the best thing to do for fear.
Yeah.
I agree with that in terms of, it's very important to use wisdom and protect yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you use wisdom to protect yourself, it's based on a rational approach that there are many things that could happen to you. But on things that you can't deal with or handle, when you give it to God, He's in control.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in control. We human beings seek control. The churches often seek control.
That's sadly it's
The
true.
churches seek
Piece of
control.
paper.
And the control is with God. If once you give your life to God, and you know, and you know in your heart of hearts, you know that whatever happens to you when you give it to God, it's for your best. Nothing happens to you that is not for your best.
Yeah, and there's this
Nothing
myth.
happens to you.
There's this myth that people say God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle, and it's not true. God gives you many things that you can't handle because you're not supposed to handle it. You're supposed to give it to God.
Yes.
And that's the key, is all the things in life that are too beyond our control, beyond what we can handle, we give to God.
But how do you get there? It takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, but somebody's listening right now or viewing this video who's in fear because we now know we're going to have a direct hit again.
Yes.
And this area was devastated, what was it, 12 years ago?
2004.
Yeah. I
2004.
can't believe it was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I was escaping this thing here.
Yeah.
And the devastation would bring tears. I mean, well, anyway. So what can you say? You're supposed to be a man of the cloth here. What can you say to my viewers right now?
Be
My
as
listeners.
prepared as you can, and then give God to the rest, and just pray. And the reality is that when you have a fear that is something that you can't control, it becomes irrational. It's not whether there's danger, whether it's irrational.
Okay, that's a fact. But what do you do not to have the fear?
You do what you can, and then you give it to God, and you just take that fear and you say, you know what, I'm not going to live in that
Why
fear.
does
I'm gonna
God
give it to God.
respond to surrender?
Because what Stanford was talking about earlier when he was talking about control. When we try to control things, especially that are impossible to control, this is when we make mistakes and we get ourselves in dangerous situations and we get super panicked because we're trying to control things that are beyond our control, and all the anxiety builds up. And the moment that we release that, there's relief, there's peace, even in the midst of a storm.
And if you're on the island here, you probably should leave the island.
Yeah, right now, I'm sure. Yeah.
And that's part of the steps of preparation.
Yeah, you gotta. The home isn't as important as your life.
No.
And so
Stuff can be replaced.
stuff can be replaced. So,
But the fear, though, I'm mostly concerned with fear, though, because it is written, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind.
Yeah.
And so we wish everybody out there peace and love, and not to be filled with fear.
And life goes on. We think that it can't, but it's amazing how no matter what we go through in life, we learn from it, we grow from it, and life goes on.
and the easiest way to do that is help somebody.
Yeah.
If you help somebody, they have a problem. You help
Help your
them.
neighbor.
You forget yourself,
Yes.
and forgetting yourself is very important in dealing with fear.
Oh, I completely
Just
agree.
help someone.
Oh.
Yeah, go and help people. And if that's your perspective and your mindset, you'll find you're surprisingly not afraid anymore.
Okay, everybody, we're going to take a break. The hurricane is now officially coming direct to Florida. Prepare. Call the authorities. Find out what you must do. Yeah, so direct hit, huh?
Yeah,
What is that?
Sad. Here, you have someone looking at your place, and so, after, if you like, I'll drive there.
Yeah,
When I
let's
can.
stay in touch. Yeah.
I'll
I'm
drive
going to
there.
post what we just did on my Facebook right now.
We're gonna call for an evacuation of the islands.
That's what I think. We're gonna call for evacuation.
Governor Scott just announced that we're,
I have a friend
7
who's gonna-
counties are looking at a direct hit. We're one of the counties.
Yeah, we have a.
Now I'm confused because it still has in the cone and not on this one at least. 'Cause
The poles out there,
Yeah.
one of the weirdest things may happen with this storm. It may get up to the Carolinas
Hmm.
and push completely back south and come right into Florida.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird what's going on. I look at NOAA. I don't care about weather.com. NOAA's got
In
stats
terms
and
of Barrier
science.
Island,
Noah?
Yeah.
you have to get yourself up
NOAA.com,
to the-
National Oceanographic
get water here.
Administration. Yeah.
It's funny that it's Noah.
But Ray, if you
Yeah,
like,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And it has to do with
after
water.
Thursday, I'll
Yeah.
come by your place. If we
They have
can,
all the
then
data,
give you a call.
and that's what I.
No, but all these ministers say, oh, you're arrogant, you.
Well,
I'm not arrogant.
I didn't get a chance to say it on air,
I
but
mean,
I
I
was.
couldn't believe they were attacking me.
I understand what they're saying, though. I will say this, we judge in comparison with other people. That's just natural. So we look, I'm tall because there's people that are shorter than me. If everyone was taller than me, I'd be short, right? And when we see God, we see this pure love, power, all these things that we thought were concepts we understood. And then all of a sudden, that's why I think a lot of people, when they see God in the Bible, they just start weeping because all of a sudden they're
They
imperfections.
didn't have the Holy Spirit.
Oh, that's true.
They didn't
That's
have
true.
they didn't have the Holy Spirit. We have the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
They didn't.
the grace of
See,
Jesus.
if you look all of fear, they did not have the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
The minute they had the Holy Spirit, Revelation, John's not fearful. He has the Holy Spirit. He's
Sure.
had the Holy Spirit longer than any person on earth.
Yeah.
He lived longer.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't fearful. All the others were fearful. Once you get the Holy Spirit, why would you be fearful?
Yeah.
Because God's in you. You're recognizing your buddy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
part of you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, but I mean, you could not believe how criticized I was. All these
Oh,
people.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm not saying anything profound, but part of it is I was raised in the occult.
Mhm.
So I knew the other guy.
You were raised in the occult.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I can read palms. I can do all this. I can do everything.
Mhm.
I mean, I was raised in the
Ouija
occult.
board.
And I said, God, one time after I became a Christian in my 30s, I said, why was I raised in the occult? He said, so was Moses. Moses was raised in the occult, so you know the bad guy. So it's very easy now to know the difference.
Interesting.
You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've met the other guy.
Mhm.
I've been around those people.
Sure.
And the evil is unreal.
Are you leaving?
No, I'm sitting tight.
When are you gonna come and help me with my boat?
I'll do that after we finish today.
All right.
I was talking to one of the Becker family last night, the citrus, citrus family. Do you know half the crops are still on those trees?
Oh my
That they could lose over $1 billion with
Oh my goodness.
this hit.
Oh, it's sad.
As soon as it hits ground, it's done.
Yeah.
Sad.
There's got half the crop still on the trees right now.
Thank you, Rhett. And any way I can help while you're gone or something, let me know. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Red.
I'm going to send you his book, okay?
All right.
Hi, is Linda in?
Yeah, hold on.
How do you spell religion? RELIG.
Isn't it
Oh,
religion?
I would ask that you address your spiritual
Yeah,
questions
ION.
to someone more qualified to comment, ideally a human.
isn't it funny how when you see it in print, we're both gonna go like that?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Hi, this is Rhett Palmer. How are you?
Hey, Brett, good.
I have a little emergency. I don't know if you can help me. The governor has just announced we're gonna be directly hit.
Oh, fantastic.
I have an antique car in front of my studio, 1928 Model A. It's a repro. It's repo. It's not a legitimate one. It was made 30 years ago, but anyway, it won't start. So I need it towed and placed inside somewhere. Do you guys do that?
We can tow it, we're not gonna have any room to put it inside.
Okay, I have a friend of mine who has a warehouse, but I can't get it started. So are you AA, AAA, or no?
No.
Oh, you're not, okay. But,
You have AAA?
yeah,
Yeah, I would just call AAA and have them, tow it to your warehouse then.
okay.
All right, I wish we could help you, Brad.
Cause if that doesn't work out with AAA, I'll call you back, all right?
Okay,
All right, so how are you
All
doing,
right.
how are you doing otherwise?
staying busy.
Yeah.
It's insane out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people get fearful, you know.
Oh, I know. I've seen all kinds of stuff out there that, people fighting over water and batteries and stuff. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, well, I don't know, there's some sort of a biblical verse or something, I forget where it is, but it says that if God lights your field on fire, that's when your true character, it's something about like that, like that's when your true character,
I believe that.
yeah, and in time, I'm the kind of guy, like if there's a car accident, I pull over and I'm directing traffic. Other
Sure.
people, so it does, and I'm proud of the fact that that's the kind of guy I am. I hope it always remains that way. But yeah,
Absolutely.
people can get really self-centered fear, I guess you would call it, you
Yeah.
know?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, listen,
All right, well, you be safe then, and
I'll
let
call,
us know if AAA doesn't work out.
if not, you can come get it and bring it to that warehouse for me. What do you charge for that, you know?
I don't know, Rhett. I gotta get my other phone.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Okay. So. Well, we're gonna take a video of everything. Once you take one, two, right?
Yeah.
And I'll have.
I'll have to walk through everything. And then as soon as I finish it now, we'll shoot over to your house and do that before I
Can I count on that? Now, do I need to go buy some extra lines though?
How many lines you got?
I'll figure it out. Take a picture of the studio, so.
I'm gonna do a walkthrough inventory.
Yeah, a video?
Yeah. Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I would think my guitar would be considered part, because I use that on the radio, right?
Anything that's in the building, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, my computer. You know, all these guitars, like the one over on my brother's vocal, he dropped one step right inside, and get over.
This is a walkthrough.
Hey, videotape my briefcase and have all the famous people it signs. That thing might be worth 10, 20,000.
Radios. Last office. Use office. And that concludes this video walkthrough inventory. All right, got it. Da 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 da.
Okay, you know that, did you know that the governor just said it's gonna hit direct to Florida?
I did not know that, no.
Yep, just
I
came
had it
over.
on, I looked at it earlier. You know, he's been at a lot.
Well,
Like at 9 o'clock this morning, and that's not what it's done.
but the Europeans, where's Beverly this morning? She never showed up. I wonder where she is.
Talk to me, please.
Anyway, so, okay, well, I'm waiting here for it. Yes. I do have the key. Thank you.
Like, once we get started, then we'll have to do your writing and like.
Last time, Triple A did not get it going. Okay, I'll call Dave. I'll call Dave and find out where he wants to bring it.
Hey, Steve, what are we gonna do today? Okay, you got it. Make sure I'm set up for you. Okay, Steve. No problem, I'll be here, man. Sorry. Hey, Rhett, they're here. Hey, Rhett, they're here.
Yeah. Let's turn this off. Probably my guitar is safer in my room, huh?
I would think so, yeah.
Now, this is supposed to be, look at this, come here.
What do you got?
Miami-Dade, baby.
Oh, this storm window is cool.
Oh, Miami-Dade, baby. That's a $4,000 one. I could never afford that. They came in here, they had a little piece of thin glass
Oh,
that they did
shit.
next door. Yeah,
Holy shit, man.
$3,000 or $4,000 window. They owed me the money from construction business. They went, things didn't go bad after 2008 or whatever it was. So they owed me trade, so they put this in here for me. Now, I'm still disappointed because when I came back, I didn't think it was gonna have these things. I thought it was a nice piece of glass here that people could look in at, but so be it. But now, today, I'm thankful. Miami-Dade, baby.
They're beefy.
Now this is cheap.
Yeah, that's ugly. I took a whole inventory of everything, Brett.
The only thing, I bet you can get my I would.
I bet you I did.
Oh, you are. Fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you. If you're, oh, did you get the radios?
I did, and I narrated it.
Hey, bud.
So they're calling in on line one. They're both going to be on line one, or are they calling in both lines?
No, they said they would be on the phone together, so I imagine.
Hey, how you doing? All right. You know, the governor just declared we're gonna hit straight.
Right there. Well, you know, everybody talks about after 2004.
And if the feds, what damage happens if the demon comes in?
Really?
Aside from what the insurance did.
Hey, maybe I should leave my antique car here. If it gets ruined, I'll probably get more money than if I was trying to sell that
What we
thing for
can do
2
is
years.
when storms come, and just take cinder blocks.
Boom.
No, I put it somewhere, Brett. Come on.
What's the other studio number?
778-3500?
No, the other line, Brett.
I don't know. That's the only other number I had, so I told them we can call them on that one, so that's fine. I just.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Okay, I gave them this one, so if they're not clear enough, then we can tell them.
We can Bob. Yeah. We are 12 minutes out, so just to let you know what's up.
How you doing?
Good. And?
I think he's out of gas.
Hey, Red, did you ever put gas in the old Ford?
I'm wondering if there's a leak in that. But yeah, I had part of my part.
Well, it's spinning, I ain't getting no fire.
So you're gonna go get gas?
Yeah, I mean, they just get called in as a no start. So, I mean, I don't know what you wanna do with it. You want me to go get gas? Which kind of person? The white one? No. Basically. Wow. I want to get enough to keep it here for I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it without gas. Yeah, but if you walk up to it, walk up. All right, let me call it in, see what they say. You might have to talk to Greg. Because this year, your voice for the battery, and now it's the fuel issue. So
Brad, fuel, how you doing, man?
all right, so let me.
How much you charge for that?
Huh?
How much to tow?
To tow it?
Yeah.
To tow it is more than you get 5 free months with that car. Yeah.
What I need is a man run beyond 5 miles.
Well, if you were lived in your father's son appliance, they have a warehouse in the short, so they can store it.
So
I have no idea, I'm not from the area.
Oh, sure. Well, you're not?
No. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I think we should just have it towed.
You just want it towed? Okay.
Yeah.
Say all I need is just the address?
Okay, hold on, let me get you on the line, hold on.
All right.
Come in here.
Hang on, let me get my radio.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'll make that work. Here, let me put you on the Sean.
Hey Brad, what's happening? Don't worry, we got about 11 minutes to air.
Okay, so I get free tows, a couple of them a year. They can't get it going. And I don't think there's time to call somebody to see if it repairs or whatever it might be. So the only thing is when we tow it, how are we gonna push it inside once we get it? We have to push it inside?
Don't worry, the line's
Huh?
gonna be clear for your call, so I would call back at
Why?
11:02. How's that? Okay, excellent. All right.
Well, no, I can have somebody come up when this is all done, just fix it right there, you know. I can have somebody come so it'll run, you know, to get it fixed, to drive it out of there, you know, next week or something. I don't know. He said it's not the battery, so we don't know what it is.
It's not the battery?
Yeah.
You have gasoline?
Well, as far as I know, unless there's a leak in there.
You have gasoline.
I don't know what happened to gasoline. I've had a hard time with this thing for a while, you know. So can't we tow it? I mean, they're here now, AAA. We can't tow it there?
Yeah, just check the gasoline.
Well, yeah, okay. Okay.
Hey, Steve, Joe, what is,
Let me get the coffee out of the microwave. I'll be right there.
no, take your time, man. Your guy's gonna call back at 2 after 2, so he didn't have to sit on the line for 11 minutes.
I don't know what the fuck this is here.
Gas stations are all out of gas. So they said they can't do it. So anyway, so we got to get it towed. Yeah. We don't know. It doesn't matter anyway. We got to tow it. Right now, yeah, they're sending a tow truck. But I'm going to put the guy in the line so you can give him the address.
On these intro breaks, outros, whatever.
Hold on a second. Do you take the address?
This is your intro. 11:18 was the most break. That's your break, correct? That's your return? Okay, is it inside the 2 minutes and 40 seconds? Because remember, I doubled last time. I remember.
So there's, can you hear that?
In about a minute, we can, because I'm on national. and I'll pull
So
up
there's four separate things. And so you have the intro,
there. Okay,
and then when I shut up, then there's.
got that, that's your avatar, okay.
And then there's,
So they're sending over, he's not, has nothing to do with, now they're gonna say, send him over. And now for the battery, so now they'll send to somebody else to bring a tow truck to tow it. So he said, they have an hour window. But he says, I don't think we're very busy right now. They'll probably come fairly soon.
All right, so I'll be over there at 11:30 to 12, and by that time, maybe we'll have it straightened out what's gonna happen.
Oh, you're coming over to do your show?
Yeah.
Okay, great. See you here. Get over here.
All right, all I need is the address.
For what, here?
No, to take where it's going to.
They need to know that now?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I can send it to them.
Okay,
All the information that I have just gets switched over to them. So they already have the address of where it's at. Just need to know where it's going.
Welcome back to
You got a pen?
Yes,
Okay, they need to know the address for the thing to come. They've got to tell the guy where it's going. They know where they're coming to get it here, but they need the address.
4,300.
4,300? What?
4,300 US 1, and they must meet me there.
All righty, okay.
And that'll
Hey,
be,
tow destination is going to be.
Well, what happens if you're doing? Okay, we'll take a look. If they come during the show, what do I do? Yes, right here. How many miles is that from the studio here? Maybe 2, 3 miles? Maybe 2 miles. Yeah, there's a temporary hold there. Oh, I'll put the tag back on.
Just remember, Steve, think MREs.
Man, I have more of those MREs in the desert than I care to remember. I still have some in the attic.
I've got 5 cases at the house. Bro.
I love the cheese and crackers, though, I must admit.
My favorite is the jambalaya.
And you can also get fat as a house eating those things too.
Just to let you know also, Steve, if we get hit hard, that antenna will go down for a week to 2 weeks. Last
Okay.
time it was 3 weeks,
Is that what it
so
was?
just know that we may have a few issues.
That's cool. Well, and actually the next
We can
two-
play it, but I can still play it on iHeart Internet. It's just at local areas.
the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm on the road anyway. I was supposed to be on the road next week, which we canceled already. So if we have to, we'll take a 2 or 3 week break and get back to it.
All right, okay. All right, that's your guy.
All right.
Okay, you're gonna hear some white noise, so it's gonna go strong, and we'll get you on, okay?
Okay, let's do a check one.
Check test 1, 2. How we doing?
How's your headphone volume?
It's good, except I only got one ear, only the left ear.
Try
Yeah, messing with the.
that's all.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I know what I have to say, so.
All right, your guess for that is on.
Cool, thanks.
Here we go.
Welcome to Making America Strong Again. This is Steve Old. It's my privilege to be with you from the soon-to-be very windy area of South Florida. We've got a lot of exciting times happening here on the Treasure Coast as we look down the barrel at Hurricane Matthew coming in. And in all seriousness, for those of you that are listening along the Florida coast and on our iHeart Live broadcast, I would just recommend you take the warning seriously. I know for a long time it was kind of a novelty. You hear the stories of the hurricane parties and you want to go out and buy a lot of tequila, but I'd suggest going out and getting a bunch of plywood and taking care of the warnings and take care of your homestead, because hurricanes can be a real challenge. Governor Scott just let us know that the hurricane's on track for a direct hit for Florida, and take it seriously. But while we prep, part of what we have to do is the scripture I read says, count everything as joy. And so while we're busy hanging up boards and shutters and standing in line at gas stations that don't have gas for hours on end, part of what we have to do is keep our mind right. Keeping our mind right is focusing on the things that ultimately we're going to do the day after the hurricane. Part of it also is putting your mind to good use, especially when you're laboring on things kind of wear you out, like standing on ladders and those sorts of things. One of the focuses of our program and the business of Patriot Mission for the last 5 years is about finding ways to grow companies and launch new ventures, especially those that help us make products and services in the USA. And today we're going to focus on the idea of manufacturing in the USA, because for a lot of people, they have a false belief that it can't be done. And for a lot of folks, the idea of manufacturing, they think that manufacturing doesn't exist in the United States, and it's just not true. And for those of you that you know about our strategic partnership with USA Brands, and we're doing a film project right now. Actually, we were getting ready to do a filming next week in California at one of the manufacturing facilities that we've had to put off due to our friend Matthew. But the fact is, making products and services in the USA is a big deal, and it can be done competitively. So today we are excited to have a guest on our program to talk about not just the generic idea of manufacturing, but to talk about a specific product that he and his team have put together. Brad House, how do you pronounce your last name, Brad? Yeah, I choked it bad, man. Hey, thanks for being with us. Thanks for calling in from California and being with us today. So Brad, you're a Marine first and foremost, right?
That's correct. Fire Service Marine, did 4 years at 0341.
Awesome. And for those of us Air Force types and everybody else who has no idea what an 0341 is, school us, man. What is that?
That is the infantry type, the 81 millimeter mortar.
Right on. So people did not mess with Brad. That's the moral of that story. Well, thank you for your service. That's awesome. So Brad, tell us how did you go from blowing stuff up to getting interested in entrepreneurship? We'll get into the specifics of what you're manufacturing, but I'd like to kind of get a feel for your story and how you began to move into the entrepreneurial circles.
Right. So I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I grew up in a family of blue-collar workers. I didn't really know any entrepreneurs growing up. It's kind of a long journey for me. I started out building websites and monetizing them for a little extra side cash. And then I heard a podcast one day talking about selling white label products on Amazon and how people are doing it. So that kind of got me going down the road of a physical product. I immediately started looking for a U.S. manufacturer. We sell stainless steel to the world most. And I couldn't find a U.S. manufacturer anywhere. So I eventually went to Alibaba.com and found a manufacturer from overseas. And that's kind of how we got started.
So now you have put a company together with 4 partners, right? Is that three which are veterans? Tell us about your partners and how you put the company together and the name of the company as well.
Sure. The name of the company is Manmug. The first partner I brought on, he's a retired Navy SEAL. Then we brought on his fiance, was my second partner. And then finally we brought on the 4th partner, who is a Navy vet as well. So we've got 3 veterans and 1 that's engaged to a veteran.
Well, that keeps it all in the family, doesn't it?
That's right.
That's right. And when did you guys launch Manmug?
I launched it 2 years ago, October of 2014. Over the last 18 months, even though I was getting them manufactured in China, I kept looking for that U.S. manufacturer, and I sent out hundreds of samples to different manufacturers, both big and small. And I kept getting the same answer. 1, no, they couldn't produce the mug, which I was a little shocked about. And 2, they kept telling me if I did find a company that could produce the mugs, it would be too expensive to the consumer, and we wouldn't be able to turn a profit.
So I'm guessing that, like most Marines, you're pretty thick-headed and you don't take no for an answer very well. So, and I can say that my sister's married to a Marine, so I got some of that going on in the family, and and we have some on our board that remind me of it about every hour. So, so tell us, Brad, what did you, from a practical standpoint, because this is a common refrain, and obviously if you'd have taken no for an answer, we wouldn't be having this discussion, but you pressed on, and what did you do? Tell us what the journey was like looking for manufacturers. What kind of things, other than just, too expensive, what did you run into, and what can we learn from that experience?
Well, I immediately, researched online, started going after the larger manufacturers, and they were telling me that, I was too small. I was a startup. I didn't have enough sales for them to work with. And then I started going towards these smaller manufacturing companies, and they just weren't willing to make the mug, or they didn't have the machinery, or they just didn't feel like that was what they wanted to do. So I just kept going down to some of the smaller manufacturing companies, and finally came across the guy who is now going to be producing our mugs for us.
So one of the things that you said in that conversation was that you went through a whole list of different manufacturers. So it sounds like there are a bunch of folks in America that are manufacturing at different scales. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so the larger manufacturers, they were manufacturing stainless steel parts for power plants and bigger things like that. No one was really making a drinking vessel.
So you got airplane turbines and a Manmug that can hold frosted beverages.
Correct.
So they didn't really have an assembly line for that squared away?
Yeah, nobody had one set up yet. Right now in America, stainless steel drinkware is
So are you doing a joint venture with the actual production facility? Is that something that that basically you drove them into the stainless steel mug category, or was that something they were looking to do or already doing?
No, you're absolutely correct. So they were working in another industry. When I first started talking to him, he is a true entrepreneur. And he was like, yeah, let's figure it out. And so over the last probably year, we've been trying to get it all set up. We're almost there.
Awesome. So part of the conversation we've been having with our audience over the last year and a half is this idea that you got to be creative. You've got to think, to use the phrase "think out of the box" it's so overused that people don't even really know what it means. But in effect, it's solving problems. And your problem was you want to produce something, you want it made in the States, you want it made at a fair price. You're willing to pay a fair price to have it produced because we're capitalists. We want everybody to make an appropriate profit. But at the same time, if you don't have a source for that, you got a problem. So in addition to just dialing, tell us what it was like, obviously without getting into all the detail that's not appropriate for the open lines, but what's it like trying to put a deal together for those of us who are listening and may have never structured a deal like that? How did you begin to do it?
He had that spirit. I could tell he had a great work ethic. He already had a team in place that were producing other parts. So we just kind of tried to go down and do what was fair for both of us. We agreed that this first year is going to be a building year. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of profit for either one of us. And so we kind of just shared that risk. And we're trying to figure it out together as we go along.
So part of this is finding the right person. And the conversation of really getting to know somebody. And it sounds like you weren't trying to force a square peg in a round hole. You were giving it the room and the time to get to know this strategic partner and really understand what his needs were as well. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. So we've been speaking probably 12 months now, and it was a very long, slow dance, if you will. The very first conversation was him saying, "I think I can do this. Let's talk through the problem. Let's find out what's it going to take." And over the next 12 months, we kind of figured it all out. So I just knocked on enough doors until I found the right person.
So you knocked on a bunch of doors. You found somebody that was interested in having a conversation, but then the real work begins. And part of the challenge that a lot of young entrepreneurs have that are just starting in their first venture, they believe that they can just pretty much power through anything. I mean, we can take a mortar and we can blow stuff up, and you can get results. You just may not like the results you create in the process. So part of the strategy of building a team is really important. And it sounds like you've done a great job of not only building an internal team, but also now a strategic partner. What was it like, and how did you bring the four members of your business together? How did you work through that process and get through the negotiations, or was that something that you just did as the leader?
No, I think when each partner came on board, I shared my vision with them of where I saw the company going, and I think they all really got behind that idea. We're all veterans, we're all patriotic, and we all really wanted this product made here in the States. Totally on board from the beginning, and then we actually flew out and met with the new U.S. manufacturer, and it was obvious from the get-go that he was our right partner. He was perfect.
That's cool. So you've now got a strategic partner, and obviously your initial objective is to produce Man Mug, get it out there. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the Kickstarter campaign, because I want to talk about, a lot of people have ideas about crowdfunding, whether it works, what you have to do, how to prep, and all those sorts of things. And I want to make sure we get as many listeners out to Man Mug Kickstarter campaign to see what's happening there. But really, the issue is you took the time, your team has taken the time to get to know each other and really strategically think through this process. And that's really important, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, it's taken a lot of patience to get to this point, but it's something we're very passionate about, and it was worth trying to get done.
So that one of the things that we talk about in our business is this concept of take your time and get there faster. And that is a big thing both in combat and also in business development. So when we come back from the break, we're gonna continue with Brad. We're gonna talk more about ManMug and crowdfunding. We'll be right back.
You can talk to him.
Hey, Brad. How's that going? Okay. Cool. We'll press through in the Kickstarter and then keep on pressing. Okay, thanks.
Update the information on their websites themselves anytime they want to without being a techie. Take a look at pdgo.com and see samples of our work and testimonials that clients have said about our services. pdgo.com. Again, pdgo.com. At ServPro of Vero Beach, no job is too big and no question is too small. So when fire, water, or mold damage strikes your home or business, call on ServPro of Vero Beach at 772-770-0501. That's where you'll find a team of specialists that's faster to any size disaster. So when the things that matter most are on the line, make sure ServPro of Vero Beach is too by calling 772-770-0501. That's ServPro of Vero Beach, helping make fire, water, and mold damage like it never, ever happened. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, this is Kelly Fisher, a supporter of the Making America Strong Again mission, and your local real estate professional here on the Treasure Coast. It has been my honor to serve our community here in Vero Beach since 2003. And with over 1,500 home sales over the past 21 years, it's my hope that you will consider the Kelly Fisher team at Treasure Coast Sotheby's International Realty for all your real estate needs. It's also our desire that every family has a home and every home has a family. And we have partnered with the Homeless Family Center of Vero Beach to work toward that goal. When you buy or sell a home with the Kelly Fisher team, we will make a substantial
30 seconds.
alleviating homelessness in our hometown. To be part of this great mission, please call us at 772-321-6905.
Welcome back to Making America Strong Again, a program dedicated to inspire you and to inspire a nation with stories of American exceptionalism and national restoration. Here's your host, Steve Holmes.
Well, thanks again for being with us today. We've got a great program. We're really drilling into this idea of manufacturing here in the United States, and more importantly, putting together effective and strategic relationships between companies that produce fantastic results. And again, we're joined by Brad, who is one of the lead owners in ManMug. And Brad, once again, I'm not gonna butcher your name this time, so I'm gonna let you say your name again. Brad Hushauer. I think I got that down now. So Brad is one of the 4 owners of ManMug, and part of what's happening, the transition that your team is making from creative to design to now speccing out the manufacturing relationship that you have. Now you're going into a beginning of a production phase that kicks off with a crowdfunding campaign. How long did it take to decide that you were going to go down the crowdfunding path?
Well, I think I had that in mind from the very beginning. I knew this was going to be a large investment up front for us. We've got to 5 to